Hi, this is a 100.1% run through the first castle of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. The mode's called Master of Unarmed Combat, which is just kind of something I made up very slowly over my years of playing it. I made it up before I knew about the Naked Alucard challenge, although it does have certain things in common with it. I've never yet tried the Naked Alucard, but probably will in the near future just to see how it compares to this. This is my first time uploading anything like this to YouTube. The Master of Unarmed Combat challenge, like Naked Alucard, you cannot equip anything in terms of weapons, shields, armor. You also cannot use any items, period, though, except the times you need to advance the plot. Holy Glasses, Gold and Silver Ring for the duration you need them on, Spikebreaker Armor for the duration that you need to have it on. And other than that, no items, no healing items, no library cards, nothing like that. No familiars, no sub-weapons. That's probably the big difference between the Naked Alucard, and this is no shields and no sub-weapons. However, you are not playing in luck mode on this, so I'm not really sure which one is more difficult between this and Naked Alucard. I think the Naked Alucard does look like it has, certainly in the very beginning, a lot more difficulty. I haven't really seen a full playthrough of it yet, so I'll have to try it myself and see how it measures up. Anyway, I guess that's about it. Named it Alucard to distinguish it from the other files, as I do expect to die quite a few times in this. Actually doing this commentary after completing it. This is the reason I uploaded this one is I actually played it through in one run, which I actually do not spend a lot of time playing video games these days, so I tend to get rather exhausted of them quickly and take breaks and have disjointed playing sessions, so this is actually the first time I've done a Master of Unarmed Combat challenge and finished it in one run. And I also only had 2 deaths on this playthrough, so that affected my playing at certain points, because usually I'll be a little more bold and just try to do insane shit, like kill rooms full of enemies that I know I probably can't survive doing, just to see if I can, but I was kind of just so happy with my 0 death record for most of this playthrough that I was a bit more conservative and sane about what I did. Since you're not doing the luck mode, the Richter fight actually does have some bearing on what happens in Master of Unarmed Combat. Like, I did make this within 1 minute. I actually kind of sucked dick with Richter, so I was not expecting to. I was sort of just like, yeah, I'm gonna try the 1 minute thing, but I know I fucked up on a few things of jumping up in the beginning, and I did barely make it within 1 minute. Like, I actually am gonna check the system time attack thing here, and it's 1 minute even for that, so I did make it with the 80 HP. I played it on 70 HP with the, basically the appalling failure of the Richter fight, which is the norm for me. This is actually a uncommonly good one. This is also a difference from some of the stuff I've seen of just watching bits and pieces of Naked Alucard challenges, is I've seen people go through this with the Alucard sword, which is understandable because of the luck mode. I wouldn't want to try and do this shit with, like, 5 strength or whatever, but since you can handle these guys pretty easily, I think they're about 3 hits for a ward when you're normal and not on luck mode, so there's not really a reason to have any of that stuff on. See, that single kick is a big part of Master of Unarmed Combat, and that's not something I see people use a whole lot, but it's incredibly useful for a lot of things. Getting the wargs is nice. The only problem I tend to have with single kick, like just happened there, is I get so in the zone of having fun using it that I will use it when I definitely know it's a bad idea and take hits. And then I'd usually tend to get a little scared of using it and become more conservative and do fist for a while, which is what I'm doing right now. Racing against the bats to get out of there. Good job, me. But yeah, that single kick is useful against a lot of things that are otherwise a colossal pain in the ass to deal with on Master of Unarmed Combat. I don't have a lot of very clear rules about what you are and aren't supposed to do. Getting full map coverage, 100.1%, well, for first castle clear anyway, is essential. I wasn't really trying to think of how to make it difficult so much as how to make it just a fun thing for me to do on my own time, and then enough people who've seen me play it said it was interesting enough to where they thought I should try and do a recording and upload it, and this is the result of that. But it didn't really evolve as a calculated effort on my part to come up with what would and wouldn't be the best way to balance challenge with fun. It just sort of organically evolved over several playing sessions over the years. I don't even play Symphony of the Night that often anymore. This is probably my first time playing it in a good couple months, and I haven't played non-unarmed combat in years. I don't even know what the fuck falls out of candles or anything anymore. There's a lot of pretty basic information about this game I've just forgotten. Yeah, no healing items. Save points and life max ups are the only thing that you can really use to get your health back up. Life max ups crop up in surprisingly convenient places. I never really thought before getting into this how fucked you would be in unarmed combat without them being in certain spots. Cube of Zoe is off the whole time, because again, you're not using sub-weapons in this. Usually I can go the whole game without getting a sub-weapon before the clock, which I get at a certain point to go up and get the Alucard sword and all that stuff in the clock room. But in this case, I believe I get an axe pretty early on, which, when that happens, which it did by accident, it just got dropped by one of the green axe lords. Basically, when you happen to accumulate enough hearts to be able to use a sub-weapon, it's good to just find a place where you're not around enemies and just exhaust your hearts all at once. Without the Cube of Zoe, you don't really get enough to use it that often, so it doesn't become a problem, but I have had times where I haven't done that and accidentally chuck an axe or dagger at someone just because of how frantically I'm jumping around and pressing the attack button. Happen to hit up and square at the same time or something. The origins of Master of Unarmed Combat actually did start a long time ago with the Gravekeeper enemies that are in the Catacombs and Colosseum, and which, when I was still fairly new at Symphony of the Night, I was just browsing through the enemy information in the library and saw the Gravekeeper described as Master of Unarmed Combat. So I determined, just for my own amusement, that every time I went into that room that just has a Gravekeeper sitting there meditating, I was going to unequip everything and challenge him to unarmed combat, one-on-one. And through some process, it slowly just spread out from there to challenging the entirety of Castlevania one-on-one, unarmed. And I've cleared the first castle many times. It's not that tough to do once you just get the hang of how to play it. But the furthest I've ever advanced, I've gotten to this point quite a few times, is up to Beelzebub in Second Castle. I have not ever managed to beat him or fully finish Second Castle when unarmed. I've beaten every boss in Second Castle on this mode with the exceptions of Beelzebub, Galamoth, and Shaft Dracula. And Shaft is actually by far the most difficult. This again is just a first castle run. I'll probably continue on this file and do as much of the second castle as I'm capable of. Upload that at a certain point, but I mostly just got tired because this is about a 3.5 hour play file, which could have been shorter for sure. I did not premeditate my route through this castle at all before I did this, and I actually took a lot of really just random twists based on my whims. You're going to see a lot of segments of me just pausing and looking at the map and kind of just leisurely deliberating over what I want to do next at any given point, and a lot of me forgetting what I had planned to do 2 seconds earlier and opening the map again. And a lot of me kind of just going all over the place and forgetting what the fuck I'm doing, because it has been quite a while since I played through this whole game, but I still generally remember where everything is. And here we're at the first boss, Slogren Gaben. Key here is not too different from what I've seen on the Naked Alucard ones. You just sort of kick the shit out of Slogger as he comes down, and he'll tend to just kind of hop back and forth as long as you don't let up on him. And then Gaben, yeah, if you get that crouch going, he most likely won't even launch off a fireball in this. Naked Alucards I've seen, you know, he'll get off a few, unless you're lucky with the crits and whatnot, but crouching is, in my experience, a better way to launch off very rapid attacks. And I don't necessarily think you can attack faster so much as your hits will kind of multiply with the fist the closer you get to an enemy, and a lot of enemies have top-heavy collision detection, so you can kind of get a little nearer to them if you're on the bottom, and that allows you to stack up more hits more quickly. One thing you'll notice is I did not earlier get the down break-in the alchemy laboratory. I got the one to the left in that room that has a left and down break, and that's basically because, you know, there's points where the basic rules of Master of Unarmed Combat do have to be violated to advance the plot, but if it is possible at any point to do something within the rules, I tend to kind of just come back and do it later, so I end up going back and getting that later. I mean, you can do it with a short sword, and you can do it with a jump kick, which is how I get it, and all the down ones, as far as I know, you need to do that triple kick after you get the Leapstone. Which should bring me into relics, I guess. I don't think I've covered this yet, which relics are and aren't allowed in this. Oh, there's my Hellfire. I tend to get very restless and impatient and just fuck around and hop when I have to stay still, and I don't think I've yet had a Master of Unarmed Combat where I haven't accidentally launched a Hellfire or two, but, you know, you're not supposed to use them for any practical purpose. They're just for accidental situations when you've got nothing better to do. Dark Metamorphosis and Summon Spirit happen as a result of that too sometimes. Hellfire seems to emerge through chance a bit more often. Anyway, the relic limitations, again, were not very logically thought out. It was more just in line of what I thought would be fun to use, and what was in line of what I considered reasonably approximate to unarmed, like the Leapstone. You know, it's not like you're turning into a animal or using an item, really. You're just hopping and then hopping again. Gravity Boots, you're just launching a Kamehameha out of your feet. That's clearly just Alucard using his key powers, so that's unarmed. Holy Symbol, I mean, he's really just, he's a vampire. I don't think he has to breathe to begin with. I'm not really sure why the water hurts him normally, but it seemed like it's not so much a violation of unarmedness. Those are really the ones that affect anything that I allow use of. I could probably get by without the Holy Symbol. In fact, I've done it before in first castle at least. Swimming up with the wolf, those damn blue Venus weeds in second castle is a whole other thing. Yeah, that's one of the few times you're allowed to use the wolf because you need it for map coverage in second castle on the ceiling in those water rooms. But the other relics would be the thing that summons the other oarsmen, which you need to advance the plot, the Merman Statue. Jewel of Open, which also you need to advance the plot. And then the Spirit Orb and Fairie Scroll, just because I like to see who I'm fighting and how little damage I'm doing to them. And I'm actually on my way to get one of those things right now. I usually do this first. This is probably the first example of me having a fairly uncalculated route just based on whatever I feel like doing, because, I mean, if I'm trying to get a speed run with Unarmed, this is obviously not the way to go. In fact, I think I find some occasions later on to advance through this little corridor from the Cthulhu on up to that table at the top several other times. Alright, we got the Spirit Orb, which is the first relic that's actually going to be used for anything. This part's kind of interesting. These guys can pose a little problem, the sort of mini-boss characters, this guy and the Cthulhu after him. The attack upgrades in this are a little weird. I've had some files where attack raises very quickly the first few levels, and this does seem to be one of those files. I'm doing 10 already to these guys. And I'm not sure what level I'm at right now, but it's not that high. It's definitely below 10. I've had other ones where it raises more slowly but more uniformly. The ones where it raises high at the very beginning do seem like they level off at a certain point. I'm sure there are a lot of people that play Castlevania that know why the fuck that is and how you get one or the other. I'm not one of them, and as far as my knowledge goes, it's just totally random. This guy's really actually easy as hell unless you afford him the opportunity to turn around, in which case he can be a bit of a problem, but it's not really that difficult to keep him from doing that. Alright, we got down here. These blood zombies. I do like to try and clear the room, any given room, of every single enemy in it at least once, just as sort of a way of asserting myself over it. I don't think I actually do that in this particular run, though. I think I kind of got just high on my lack of deaths for so long, which is very unusual. This, again, is actually a straight run through the castle. This is all recorded in one session, so the 2 times I do that, you're going to see me reloading the game and everything, but I don't really like those videos that are kind of like a perfect amalgamation of the attempts that you like, and they look nice and clean and no damage all the way through the castle. This is exactly as I played it my first attempt. There's no cutting together little segments or anything like that. Frankly, I suck too much with video software to even know how to do that.
That's where I come in.
Oh, yeah. This is also a person who watched me do this, and I did it on his computer emulator. I'm Michael, and this is Jeff. It's probably going on his YouTube channel. It's not actually on YouTube yet. We're just recording the commentary for it. I don't know where it'll end up. But
I'm a speedrunner of this first castle.
yeah.
And he's the master of unarmed combat.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff does have some pretty awesome speedrun videos. He plays this a lot more than me. I have a copy of it on PlayStation, but no PS2 to play it on at this point, or PS1. So I pretty much just play it when I'm hanging out with Jeff once in a while. Again, I haven't played this in months prior to this. I'm actually rather surprised how well it went. I was expecting to fail a lot more than I was at certain points. But yeah, Jeff's got some cool speedruns. I think, what's your record now, like?
128.07 for full map coverage, first castle.
Oh yeah. And what's that other guy's? There's one somewhere that's like 109 or something. I think that's the
Personas.
Yeah, that one's pretty impressive, but
Props to that dude. He doesn't take any damage. It's pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, but he edits them together. I mean,
Yeah.
you actually do it in one run and
Yeah.
show all the stuff. But yeah, I mean,
I do prefer single segment for first castle.
yeah. Yeah, again, I'm not really sure why I went there. You can't sit in that chair. That pisses me off. I like sitting in all the chairs I come across. I think that's the only chair in the castle that doesn't permit you to sit in it. Fleas, these guys are a bit of a problem if you let them live long enough, but it's once you just get used to how they hop around, they're pretty easy. There's this chick. I usually get them with single kicks. I didn't have to in that previous room, but the single kick on fleas is actually, yeah, like that is really nice, because you can kind of be enough out of their range where you're not really risking getting hit by them if you have not properly estimated their angle of approach to you, which can happen sometimes because they're really fucking weird, just topple over the place. I was disappointed these enemies weren't a little tougher. I like the way they looked. It just seemed like they should be able to do more stuff against you. Stone flowers actually can be a pain in the ass, on the other hand. I did pretty well in this run, but, I mean, most of the time it doesn't go this smoothly going through this corridor. You can take some damage from them if you... Mostly impatience is your enemy, actually, against those guys. I mean, just... half the time I don't feel like waiting for their pellets to go through. It's kind of the same mentality that makes me do accidental hellfires on elevators, but it's just how I play this game. I'm gonna be there for a while, just to let you know.
Comfortable chair.
It looks pretty good. It's got like that blue cushion on it, unless that's just painted wood. Never can tell this castle. That's not nearly the best chair in here. There's a lot of better chairs in Castlevania than that. There's some really nice chairs in the Long Library. That's where I got my axe, which was disappointing, because prior to this run, I'd gotten really good at avoiding sub-weapons for the whole game. And once you have one, it's ideal to get the cross in that little room in the alchemy lab at a certain point, because then you just have to deal with exhausting your hearts less. This room, I'm not really sure why I decided to do the elevator thing, since I'm not even going to use the item I get down there, but...
Everybody's favorite secret elevator.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the fuck discovered this, like... I don't know if it was in a walkthrough when the game came out or what, but I don't know how you would just stand there long enough by chance to notice that that's possible. Same with the jewel sword, too, the jewel knuckles and sword, that bat and wolf shit. Like, who the fuck figured that out?
Good question.
Oh, these are some more chairs. They're pretty nice. Harder wood, though. Not really sure why I look through the telescope. Someday I'll upload a run of this where I do things effectively and with purpose, but not this time. Honestly, I just recorded this because I was thinking it was a practice run and I could kind of critique what I did before a real recording, but then I went so long without suffering a death and actually got through the whole castle in one playthrough. I was kind of like, fuck it, I'll put it up. Can always do another one later. And this was an important thing because I noticed that you could sit in that chair and then backslide and immediately do the cape thing, which I thought was a pretty cool combo, so I stopped to make sure that that was as possible as I thought it was. And here we are at Doppelganger 10, I'm at level 10, so it's supposedly an exact copy of me, I believe, in terms of stats and all that. Doppelganger 10 can actually be a bit of a pain in the ass. It's, I don't know, you kind of just have to feel out his rhythm, and those jumps are both his and yours best opportunity to get him, because if you don't time your interruption of his jumps right, he will fuck you, but as long as you can consistently do that, I actually didn't even do as well as I could have against him. It's pretty possible to just juggle him out of those jumps and time your evasions and everything in such a way that he really has no chance to hit you, but I didn't do too bad there. I've certainly done much worse. The wing smash is another dangerous one. I actually kind of got lucky on that because I was crouching the one time he tried to get me with it, and he happened to be elevated above me on that slope there, so it missed me, but that can be a pretty serious problem against him at times. These guys are fucking annoying in Master of Unarmed Combat, because there are ways that you can hit them without just waiting to exploit their attacks, but it's such a pain in the ass that it's just kind of not that worth waiting for. You basically have to, with the spear guards, just hang back, and either if you're below them, like I was there on the ledge, and like you often are, because they're usually on ledges in this game, you can sort of just sneak up and hit them in the foot or something when they do that thrust, but the surefire way, you sort of have to wait for them to come in with their big strike attack and then hit them while their front is exposed and the spear's pointing down. This, I've made that jump sometimes, but it's so fucking, like, right there. 9 times out of 10 I fuck it up. It's just a pain in the ass. The best way to get over there early, I think, so you don't have to do it later, well, you can get the wolf, but in Master of Unarmed Combat, what I'm trying to do here is take a hit from a Medusa in such a way that it will knock me over there. And to do that, you have to go over to the other side of the screen. As you see there, they start coming from the left if you're too far over on that platform, so you gotta, yeah, like that, and here he comes, and perfect. The worst thing is sometimes there's one coming from the other way or something, depending on how you time your movement from one half of the screen to the next, and it'll knock you right back off. That's happened to me before, so do want to make sure they're only coming from that one side. When you get knocked over, it'll often fail. There's exhausting my axe again. Axes, I think, only use 4 parts, so that actually is... And daggers are about the only one worse than that to pick up. It's nice if you do fuck up and get one, to at least get one that you don't have to burn out very often. Holy Water's not bad. Clock is probably the best, since there is that point at which you need it for map coverage anyway. And go in and turn that relic off, which is just kind of matter of course for anyone that you're not going to be using. I'm not really sure why I bothered unlocking it this early, because I am going to come right back here to go to the Royal Chapel in a little bit. But I did. You can actually leave the room before it goes down. I never knew that before. I was always kind of scared to try it. And it'll be down next time. Coming into Long Library here to get the Jewel open. It's the only way around that is the wolf jump, which it's fun to do and feel like you're breaking the game, but it's not allowed in this since it is possible to do it without it. I have actually seen people do that on like Naked Alucard and stuff, which I don't really quite get since there is a way to avoid it. It's not necessary to advance. These guys are pretty fun, but it is sometimes tough to kill all of them before you get impatient with their resurfacing and just leave. I came back up pretty quick this time, so it wasn't too bad.
First enemies that get to see the names.
That's true. Those guys. The ones. They're pretty fun enemies if you allow them to live long enough to do their lightning shit. Which I don't think happened in this playthrough, unfortunately. I didn't really need to sell that gem. And the Jewel of Open is really the only reason you'll ever come here. There's nothing else they're worth buying. I mean, you can get a castle map if you want, but everyone pretty much knows what this castle looks like. There's not much of a reason to. Sure why I'm re-killing all the books. Obviously I found it enjoyable at the time. These guys are actually one of the things that's less annoying on Master of Unarmed Combat. I didn't get cursed in this playthrough, I don't think, but they curse you, which doesn't actually really seem to affect you as far as I can tell on Master of Unarmed Combat. I think it only lowers your attack on a weapon you have equipped, because I know every time I've gotten cursed there in Master of Unarmed Combat, it doesn't lower the damage I do to anything, so that's kind of nice. More fleas. just realized I forgot to get the stuff that falls out of the librarian on this playthrough, but I do try and kind of like to get all the items, I guess, just for a sense of completion, but again, Master of Unarmed Combat is as much about just me doing whatever the fuck as it is about a formal system, so there are times when it just slips my mind or I don't give a shit and I don't really play the game often enough to have a flawless, trained memory of where everything's at. I'm having trouble with that guy.
Stopping to think.
Yep. I think I end up just going to the Royal Chapel though after this. Now, obviously I'm interested in that elevator or something. Oh, right, Royal Chapel. I'm not going through the marble gallery. So yeah, I don't remember any of this shit off the top of my head.
Fortunately, I was here.
That is true. A lot of the times I stopped to bring the map up was Jeff telling me that I was clearly taking a less efficient route than he would have me take, since he does speedruns this pretty often. He knows the best way to get around places, and I don't think I've ever attempted a speedrun on this even once. I've just always gone wherever I please.
And those times you already mentioned where you decide to go somewhere and then forget 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
That's always fun. I think we all do that though sometimes.
You and I definitely do. I've seen enough other people's videos to suspect that it may not be a universal problem with Castlevania. Although a lot of people do tend to edit in just the perfect scenes and everything of theirs from save point to save point, whereas we have a mixture of laziness and nobility that prevents us from doing that.
It's all about the single segments, guys. I mean, come on, anybody can just, you really think about it? Reload a save anytime they fuck up?
I can
Try it
understand.
again?
I can understand the point, just of like, you know, showing a tutorial on how to do it properly, which a lot of them could be seen as that, but yeah, if you're just trying to like show how you play the game and what your experience with it was, it's obviously not a very good way to do it. I did pick up, what was the guy's name? Persona, the 109 speedrun dudes?
Yeah.
I picked up a couple little pointers from that even. He doesn't do the shield dash thing you do, which is like the main difference, I think. And well, your route is fucking insane too at this point. But you know, it would have been kind of annoying to just, like, as far as what we were doing watching it, to compare techniques and everything. It's not so bad to have a perfect run to look at. But yeah, I mostly agree with you still. It's better to just upload a clean single run if you can. Sometimes you just get tired of playing though. I kind of can't believe I finished First Castle in one run. I really didn't think I would this time. Keep walking, bitch.
I think you probably would have had more deaths if you did take a break, but
Yeah, that was kind of a big part of why I didn't. It's just like, fuck, I'm on a roll and I'm gonna lose my frame of mind, whatever it is that's allowing me to actually accomplish this. I did not expect that, although the weird route I took later, which you'll see shortly after the Royal Chapel, was a big part of enabling me to not die. The stairs. That tech right there, that circle jump with a punch at the outermost forward terminus of that circle, is a pretty important part of Master of Unarmed Combat. there's a lot of shit that little just strike and then escape in midair before you have to do anything else is pretty crucial. These guys, it's important. Olrox, that fight on his second form, you're gonna see when I get there, that's a crucial part of that. You need to jump up and smack his head and be able to use the Leapstone to double jump away from his counterattack before you've landed. Getting that circle jump down, which it's not really that tough to do. Tried to show people how to do it, and some people tell me it's a tough technique, but I don't really think it is. It's just a matter of really rotating the D-pad. Sometimes you gotta put up your cape to protect against the heat. But, that spike ball. Forgot to kill that spike ball this time. This is just experience whoring though, there's not really a justifiable reason to do it. Seem to recall fucking up this part a decent amount of times. Yep, that's gonna happen a couple more times. Getting warmer though. I at least hit a platform. Good times a charm. So I got those goggles that I will never use. This dude's a pretty fun fight in Master of Unarmed Combat. I've beaten him here before. It's pretty tough to defeat him and then have enough life left to make it to a save point. I'm more tend to run like hell when he attacks me, as I'm doing here, to respawn him to the middle so that I can safely advance up the other side. Of course, pick up that night shield I don't need, and yeah, coast is clear, getting out of that room. There are times I'm feeling really ballsy where I'll just go at him though and try to kill him, and it doesn't go well most of the time. He's not really any less dangerous than the one in Olrox's quarters you encounter much later. But if you've taken a hit going up the stairs, which I did somehow just out of impatience, it's pretty dangerous to try and fight him with less than full HP, I think. I don't know why I'm doing all this, just, you know, gets lonely in Castlevania with some company sometimes, even if it is just people complaining about whatever they think they did that was wrong. Or getting mad at me for accusing them of wrongdoing and trying to stab me. This chick's about to, I think. Yep, saw that coming from a mile away. Nice try though. I do this sometimes in Master of Unarmed Combat where I just sort of hop around like a frog. And I'm not really sure why. But I do think the Skelerains get afraid when you do that. Because they all do. Except this guy, I think I killed him before he had the opportunity to cower before me. And then this guy's clearly their leader because he actually didn't get scared at all. Or he might be like a veteran Skelerain that I ran into in the marble gallery and didn't kill or something. Came back here to train the others. Because he knows what he's doing. I have a bit of a tougher time with him. This part's fun. So I'm just checking whether I got all the coverage down there. These crows are pretty easy to get past, but if you take a hit from them, it's the biggest fucking pain in the ass on this, and they, just especially with how much damage you take in unarmed combat, if you get knocked down and have to go up to this again, you've got probably like 3 or 4 tries to get up there before you just can't survive. Dueling the hunting girl there is pretty fun. It's always a favorite activity of mine on unarmed combat. They're some of my favorite guys to kill. There's a life max up right up there, but you know, I kind of want to... It just doesn't seem fair if you get it before you kill the hunting girl, and it would give her a chance. And then we go up from life max up, which is a pretty conveniently placed one. Like I said, they're in places where you need him the most. I never really thought about him like that before I started doing Master of Unarmed Combat. I was like, oh, okay, fucking life max up, that's here, just like other items or other places. But during Master of Unarmed Combat, there are a couple times where you just run into those things where you're like, okay, well, I was worried for a second, but now I am totally fine. Like, I'm not so sure. And you can make it through the Royal Chapel, no problem without that, if you really try and decide to give enough of a fuck to just be patient and do it right, but it's nice to have. Crows. Just a spot back there. Doesn't matter since you have to go back with the spike break armor. Killing those guys on the ceiling is a good thing to do too, as you've probably noticed I've been doing. Just get them before they can take off. And now the Hippogriff, which is never really a problem, so I'm kind of surprised I let her lay eggs. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Gaben. You just sit down in front of her, she shoots fire, it goes over your head, she flies away, lands somewhere else, and just do the same shit. It's actually pretty much the exact same boss as Gaben, now that I'm thinking about it, except it just lays eggs once in a while. So let's check again. Those guys, again, just duck under their spear. One of many enemies, like I said, with their collision detection. This doesn't really affect you if you're close to the ground. Saved a lot in this run, I'm not really sure why. There's probably a lot of times I should have just healed and left to save time, but I was expecting to upload it, I guess. Crows. There's seriously none in the fucking middle. I thought there were more than just... Okay, there's more over here, I'm gonna say. Yep, it's exciting stuff.
You know it.
Fleet Riders are not that big of a problem, definitely compared to the Naked Alucard one. But they are fun as fuck to fight in midair when you get the gravity boots, though. Just like zip around and get in dogfights with Fleet Riders in this place. Coolest sword in the game. What the fuck am I doing?
asking.
More points do seem to be a point of me losing track of what my goals are pretty often this run from what I remember. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point, but I know I'm gonna get up and get a soda, so I'm just gonna leave this running. You know, this isn't actually what we're uploading, but I am watching the video and it's gonna be linked up to it, so if something important happens while I'm gone, I won't be here to tell you, but I think it's important.
You missed so much stuff.
It looks like it. I missed a fight with a spear guard, which... Oh wow, hey, I love it when I manage to pull that off, get behind him. That guy respawned his barrel, that was fucking weird, I never knew they could do that.
Nor did I.
That dickhead in the underground caverns certainly does it. You get one shot with that motherfucker and you gotta get out of there. Try again. Or maybe you don't, I've never tested that theory. I just assumed it was a necessary frustration.
I'm pretty sure he's nerfed on purpose to only have one.
Are there even any others in the game other than that dude in the caverns one?
There's two in the caverns.
Oh yeah, there's the dude when you hit the switch who demonstrates to you how you exploit skeletons holding flaming barrels to destroy wood.
Yep.
I just realized how unbalanced the audio is going to be on this. I keep like leaning back from the mic and everything. You're like significantly further away from it than I am.
Oh well.
Yeah,
I've tried to pronounce a little stronger sometimes.
there's a lot of things I could have done differently if I gave a fuck about making this a quality video.
We all know that YouTube demands quality.
Hey man, those other SotN runs I've seen have some pro commentary. Of course, they'd like edit the perfect runs together, put a lot more thought into it. This is all kind of done in like the last... When did I start this? Like 7 hours ago. Took a break and then just did the commentary for it.
Something like that.
Oh shit, I just realized Pizza Hut's gonna be closed by the time
No,
I'm done doing the commentary for this. You don't think so, dude? I don't think... This is 3.5 hours. I don't think we're an hour and a half into it yet.
I'm pretty sure Pizza Hut's open till midnight and it's only 8:56.
Oh, that clock's fast. Okay. Look at them.
52 minutes in.
That's good. That was dangerous. I know I don't feel like heading all the way over to the Albertsons tonight. Way too fucking hot out for that shit. Global warming is a nightmare, let me tell you guys. It did give us a spring around here, which did not ever occur as an actual season here when I was a child, so it's pros and cons, I suppose, on a case-by-case basis. Apparently I'm doing underground caverns now.
Speaking of global warming.
Got that right. Took a lot of hits from those guys. It's like, I know their attack pattern too, just I get impatient. It's like, nah, I'm just gonna assume I'll find a way to not get hit by that bone in mid-flight. Down we go, for real this time. Arsenal of Spear Guards begins. That was fun.
Dominated you.
Yeah, they will do that. I mean, look at that cocky pose. He's just sitting there kicking his feet, waiting for you to show up so he can fuck you up. It's like, he knows you can kill him, too. You can tell he's not just like some cocky newbie. He knows what he's doing. He's just like, it's gonna be you or me, dude. But I'm ready either way. I respect them. I have to say, Spear Guards are definitely some of the most respectable opponents. I'm thinking maybe I was getting up to take a piss at this part.
I don't remember. Your guess is as good as mine. Probably to get a soda.
That's a pretty long soda break, I don't know. It probably is a piss break. I mean, it was a 3.5 hour playthrough, and most likely, yeah, cause dude, look at all these cans. I drank like 4 sodas during that playthrough. So yeah, I had to have taken at least one piss break in this video. This probably will happen again. Alright, back. Probably forgot where I was while I was pissing. Here we go. Ah! Holy shit.
Surprise attack.
Yeah, I guess I spent a while trying to pretend like I was gonna show this room who's boss before I gave up. Which I've done it before, I mean, it's not really that hard, just... Well, maybe I do it. Get him. Oh, see? Look at that, dude. He, like, taunts you in. These fuckers are smart. Turns his back, and as soon as you come, he backs away and turns that spear. It's like he was made to fight you unarmed, because it's not even a problem when you have equipment. Okay, never mind. I did show that room as boss. Thought I failed for some reason. That was pretty fun. It's one of those places I always just feel like there should be more. Even though I know there's none, I just have to check it. Be sure.
You can always hope.
Yeah, you never know. Castlevania is a creature of chaos. Alucard says that to the in a cutscene, I'm pretty sure.
Indeed he does.
Oh shit. Got hit by a bone archer. I got hit by a bone archer 3 times. And nearly killed by that too. Yeah, okay, this is the room I just had enough of and gave up on and breezed through it. But if you don't get shot by a bone archer 3 times, it's not actually really one of the tougher rooms. Just have the patience to kill the spear guards and make sure you kill the archers first.
Again, showing the convenience of the life max up locations.
Yeah. See, I moved in for that guy when he was, like, sitting there dragging his feet, just taking the bait, thinking he wasn't gonna know what I was up to. You don't underestimate those guys, and I know they only take 2 hits to kill, but they make you work for it. I think I just wanted to climb here because it looked fun. Yeah, that was it. Candles quiver a lot on Jeff's emulator. I think that's kind of strange looking. Not sure how visible that is on the final upload, but they look to me like they quiver a lot more than on the PlayStation. The blue ones especially just seem to vibrate a lot. Taking on the Skylar Worm. This is probably actually a deviation from my normal routes. In Unarmed, it's always kind of just whatever the fuck, but I usually do save the Skylar Worm till last. I kind of just... Normally, I would take a more conventional route where you go up through the Coliseum and then go to the Long Library, you know, get the bat, which the one time you use the bat in this, well, one of 2. One to get the Spike Breaker later, and then the other to go up and get the Gravity Boots, which is allowable as a permanent relic, since, again, it's him firing Ki Blast out of his feet. It's clearly still unarmed. And I usually just like to kind of wait and do the whole trio of underground areas, the Abandoned Mine, and the Catacombs at once, just so I don't have to come back. And I end up going through here quite a few times this time. I think my plan was to come through here and get the Merman Statue. This is, real quick on the Skylar Worm, the best way to beat her is if you stand back right at that distance, you can hit the snakes as they come in, but they won't be able to hit you, and you can kill pretty much the bubbles at that point if you're just willing to take the hit from the shuriken thing she throws. It's not a big deal, and then you just take that hit, hop behind her, and take her out. That's a pretty fail-safe way to kill her. I think my plan here initially, though, was to go all the way down to the left, get the Merman Statue, and then pop out in the entrance and head back up to the Colosseum from there. I don't know that I ended up doing that, though. I can't remember for sure. I'll have to see how the file progresses. I know I took a very strange route. Actually, no, I didn't for sure, because not doing that was actually one of the main reasons probably why I did not suffer very many deaths in this. Because the experience the bosses give you at different times is a huge variable in Master of Unarmed Combat. You know, the enemy profiles in Castlevania, they show, oh, this guy has this much HP, gets you this much XP, but that experience is only at level 1. As you level up, you know, I'm probably telling you guys a bunch of shit you already know, but as you level up, they give you less experience every level, so if you kill some bosses that are normally designed to be hit later, I don't really know what route the guys who made this game had in mind. There doesn't seem to be like an absolute normal route you can just advance to the game with, but you know, if you kill a later boss early on, you're gonna just shoot up in levels. Like, you can get quite a few. I think I've been at 16 since I got out of the Royal Chapel. I think I'm still at 16 right now. It's usually where you finish the Hippogriff at. Killed those guys. It actually is possible to go get that stuff underwater on Unarmed, but it's kind of just a pain in the ass unless it's fun to do maybe like once ever just to prove you can, but it is really fucking annoying. The frogs are actually a big problem. I like to pretend like I am a frog when I fight them like that. It's kind of like, you know, Master of Unarmed Combat spawned against the Gravekeeper using his own style against him. And when I hop around and jump kick them, I sort of feel like I am a frog, and I'm using the frog style against them and beating them at their own game.
Which works sometimes.
And I think it's the best approach to take, unless, you know, you're actually getting your ass kicked and need to try and conserve your health, which, you know, I'm at 78 HP, obviously that wasn't a big priority this time. Walking across the waterfall. Yep, I am going into the abandoned mine now, which was the deviation from the route, and I think my goal was actually to just do the warp down there. I wanted to get the snake warp room so that I could come back here relatively easily later, even though I do have to do more in the underground cavern. Still, I failed to do the fall that gets you all that map coverage, so come back and do that whenever you take on Succubus, which I have to get the gravity boots, I believe, before I can do anyway, so just knowing that I was going to have to do that later, I still for some reason wanted to get the warp at this point in the game. Just to have it, I guess. And the 21 HP, you know, that experience of the frogs did not go very well for me. Now I gotta cruise back to the save point, since normally doing this route, I think it's pretty easy to not die once. Normally I would have gone to the Colosseum rather than the underground caverns, though, and that's usually where I suffer my first death. Like, the Colosseum at level 16 is nothing to fuck with on Master of Unarmed Combat. That's probably an unfortunate part of this. I'm gonna have to upload a later run at some point that shows the route where you go to the Colosseum right away, because that's a fun, kind of tough place on Master of Unarmed Combat if you actually want to, like, kill everything in there and go there right after you get the Leapstone, clear out all the rooms. Like, it was a bit of a letdown when I do finally end up going there, just because I was a little over-leveled compared to where I usually end up there at. Anyway, I successfully avoided death. Got to the save point. And normally I probably would have just tried to go into the abandoned mine and use that save point that's immediately available there, but I kind of just didn't want to ruin my record of not dying. That was the point I was getting at before that sidetrack about the Colosseum. It's the last one. You can never tell when they're going to do that long jump. Actually, you probably can, I just don't observe their patterns enough to know it. Oh, here he comes. Saw that one coming. High jumps aren't a problem at all. The toads are not even a big deal, man. It's those small frogs. I'm pretty careful against that guy. That took way longer than it needed to. Oh shit, another one? Thought I was done.
You wish.
That came out of nowhere. This going. There we go. Oh, yeah, okay, I fucked that up. I remember doing that now. Might have been a chance, in hindsight, based on commentary I had recently, to test whether they can respawn their barrels. Ah! Thought he was gonna get me for sure. Here it comes. Here it comes anytime. Okay, I came first.
Abandoned mine.
That is where we are. Yeah, the Cerberus fight was what overleveled me. I think I'm still at 16. I'm not sure whether or not I checked that on the way to Cerberus. So, if I don't, I'm not sure why I assume that, but I seem to just have it in my mind that I was at level 16 when I confronted him. Okay, there, I checked it, 16, yeah. And, by the time I am done with Cerberus, who is, again, he's one of those bosses, like Hippogriff and Gaben. He's basically the same thing. You crouch down, he shoots fire over your head. It actually took me a minute to get it right. You want to just get right next to him when he does that, and you can kill him off pretty quickly, but for some reason I just had trouble with it this time, and it took me a couple approaches to get that. He'll hop over you sometimes, like the Hippogriff. It's basically the same thing, and then you just sit there and crouch underneath his line of fire and just keep hammering away at him, and he dies pretty quick. He leveled me up 5 levels, though. I'm at 21 now, and that had a huge bearing on how this goes. Yeah, 21. Because normally the Colosseum, the Long Library, are pretty tough to get through. There's the armored fleas and everything in the later parts of the Long Library when you go back there after you get the mist in the Colosseum, and that's kind of like the first really serious trial where you make a wrong move and you're just dead. But because I beat Cerberus this early, I didn't really expect to get that much experience from him. Those are made relatively easy, and I actually get through both of them later without suffering any death. Gremlins are always fun. And then my original goal was to just unlock the warp down here. It pretty much ended up filling out the abandoned mine just because it's... might actually be, unless you count Nightmare as a domain, Succubus's little area, it might actually be the smallest region of the castle.
It surely is.
Okay, and apparently I don't want to do that right now. I'm gonna go to this demon card shit first. Not sure why I'm surprised at taking a more efficient route and not going into a room I need to go in later for no reason right now. Or just because I usually do things very ineffectively for time in this game. Okay, I'm gonna get the demon out, press that switch. It took me so fucking long to figure out how to do this my first time playing this.
Really?
It's like kind of another one of those just dumb luck things, because
I don't think I ever got to figure that out.
I'm stuck there for a while. Well, there's enough other stuff to do to where you don't really need to go down there, but oh, here she is, the one and only Venus Weed in the game. Pretty benign enemy. I'm kind of surprised she got a hit on me. This is actually one of the times I came closer to death, though, because I have to progress back through this shit. There's nothing, I don't think, to heal me on the other side. I don't believe there's a life max up here.
Nope.
I did forget to break in there, so I have to come back and do that later. Yep, not going well. This is the time I thought I might get taken out, but I don't think she can shoot her thorns like the blue Venus Weeds, so as long as you can just get over her in a timely manner. Not really in any danger from her, she just sort of sits there and flails around.
I did not realize she was incapable of shooting thorns.
I don't think I've ever known her to do so. If she does, she's a lot less fond of doing it than the blue Venus Weeds. Back to the save point so I can actually guarantee my survival to the snake room. Guess we really could have done this in 2 times speeded up. On a lot of parts where just not really much is happening, but too late now. It does give people an opportunity to see things that are happening. I mean, it probably would be nice to actually do like some faster stuff through the middle parts, but I do think the boss fights, at least in certain rooms, should be done in real time. What the fuck? What am I doing?
That's a question that's well asked many times throughout this
I
game.
obviously have a goal here. But what? What is it? This is just like 4 hours ago I was doing this too, and I can't remember. I do remember this Salem Witch, though. And for some reason, this Salem Witch fight is a very clear facet of my memory, but...
Oh, was this when I told you you missed that room?
I don't think so. I think you pointed that out to me much later. I think on the way to take Grand Balloons when that happened.
Oh, you were going to hit the underwater switch. Or was it back to the
Oh, get the
entrance?
Merman Statue? Yeah, that's right. I was actually going with my original plan that I came down here to do. Then I got sidetracked into the abandoned mine just to open the gate and forgot what my actual goal was. But then I remembered before I took the warp. I probably could have taken Grand Balloon at this point. The only really tough boss fight in First Castle and Master of Unarmed Combat is Olrox, and if you want to actually beat him and get one of the bad endings and not just kill the Shaft or Richter is obviously far and away the most difficult. I think I've only beaten Richter that way once on Master of Unarmed, and if I recall, I did it years ago when my standards for what is and is not permitted in Master of Unarmed Combat were relatively lenient compared to how I play now, so I should probably give that a shot sometime and see if I can pull it off. But other than that, Olrox is really the main challenge. Like, building up to that fight is kind of just all this is training for it, really. That's the crux of the whole first castle, is the Olrox fight. And Grand Falloon, though, can pose problems if you just get overwhelmed by what a giant, weird-looking fucking thing it is. But if you just kind of like think about how to go at him, do more commentary on that when the fight actually starts. But I think I was a little timid in this, actually, because I was so just bent on keeping this high of not dying going for as long as I possibly could, that I didn't want to chance getting killed against Grand Falloon. But normally, by the time I went and took out Cerberus, I probably would have just gone and killed Grand Falloon. It's made actually extremely easy by the gravity boots to take him out, but you can definitely pull it off with a double jump. It'd just take a little longer. Helping the oarsman to row is a pretty important part of this, because it just shows that you appreciate what he's doing, because, you know, he doesn't get paid or anything, really. It's the librarian, you know, he helps you out, but he gets money for it. The guy's just doing it out of the kindness of his heart. I just think it's nice to lend him a hand.
You know you're never supposed to pay the ferryman.
I do know that, actually. I've heard that song before. It's generally a bad idea, but he doesn't ask you to pay him. Like, in the song where they advise that, he says pretty explicitly, you must pay me now at a certain point, and he says it in the middle of the fucking boat ride. Like, when is that a time to demand payment? Normally you'd say when you get to the other side, or right when you take off, not when there's trouble ahead. Although, because, you know, if the trouble kills you, which is like, that's why he'd want it, is, oh, maybe you're gonna die and I'm not gonna be able to get your money, but it's gonna kill you too, dude. We're in a canoe. Like, one of us is dying. Neither of us is getting out of this. Well, then again, maybe he's just saying that because you're about to take off and there's trouble ahead. I just always interpreted it as you being in mid-voyage, probably because it's the middle of the song.
I think it is. It's probably different for vampires anyway.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't have the bat yet. That was a consequence of this route, is not being able to get that jewel sword. Which really doesn't matter because you have to come back anyway, but...
This was a crazy scattered the fuck everywhere route, that's for sure.
I still didn't get a bad time. What was it, 3:30?
Sub 3:30.
It was sub 3:30?
It was. 3:26.
Oh. That's...
It was still a pretty good time.
For me, that's pretty good.
Especially unarmed. But yeah, you still could have for sure gotten 240-ish. Just...
It'd be pretty interesting if I actually gave a fuck about doing this effectively sometime. I mean, now that I've uploaded one video, I should probably try to do that in the future.
What is life without chaos?
It's definitely not Castlevania.
Indeed.
Now I'm on my way to the Colosseum at last. And this says I prophesied earlier, is a point at which I had to go back through this place anyway, but it is a lot less fun when you're a high enough level to just, like, not have to really give a shit about the big dude with the ball up there in the Cthulhu. Not that after heading into the Coliseum at level 21, I'm really in a position to talk about challenging myself at lower levels in this file, but I didn't know that that was going to turn out like that when I first came down here. You're actually going to have space on your hard drive for this audio file?
Yeah, I've got like 70 gigs.
Oh shit, I didn't know you could it out that much. I'll say I know the video was, what, 1 gig by itself?
Yeah, like 1.1. Nothing. I mean, it's bigger than all my other.
Is this going to come out as a wave?
It'll be a wave in, like, as it's being recorded, but I won't save it as a wave.
Okay.
I'll probably just use M4A since the video's already MP4. I haven't actually messed with YouTube enough to know how to add audio, but I'm sure it's...
Oh, you're going to try and edit it in YouTube?
I might see how easy it is.
Yeah.
If not, obviously, just do it before we upload. Just mix them together.
I became overly reliant on double jump here, and obviously it's not a bad tactic because this is one of the better runs I've ever had, but I do like the single kick. Like, seems like I just went over to double jumping too much in this file. I got really unlucky on that statue. Like, I don't know, there was one time I came in here with the intent to go up to the left and actually had it accommodate me. I'm hopping back and forth to the ticking right now. I often tend to just wiggle around to whatever sounds are going on when I'm waiting in this game.
It's a good pastime.
I thought about not getting that, but then I thought, nah, I'm at level 21, there's nothing that's going to fuck me up anyway. But sometimes, since you're reliant on life max up and save points, it's nice to have that thing. There's a save point in the Coliseum right on the way out, so it doesn't matter for that, but every once in a while I do like to challenge the sword guy in here right when I come in, which I don't believe I do this time. I think he was one of the last guys I killed in this run, actually, but you can take him at a pretty low level. I actually think he is easier to beat than the one in the Royal Chapel in Master of Unarmed Combat.
Yeah, you do save a lot in this run.
I don't think I've ever saved this much in a run before either. I'm not sure why I did it. Obviously this wasn't questioning whether or not to do it. I'm going around to the other side first for some reason. I think I kind of just wanted to get the Minotaur and Werewolf out of the way, which that fight's not really any different at level 21 or level 17 or 16 or whatever I'd normally get there at. It's pretty easy no matter what. Okay, yeah, I leveled up here to 22. So Cerberus actually almost gave me 6 levels.
Oh, you were 193 away from leveling. You were 17.
Oh.
Before you got Cerberus.
Yeah, Colosseum's not nearly as fun when you're this high level. It's normally like the first real challenge where the difficulty just steps up. Obviously, I thought that was worth doing for some reason. This is normally pretty tough to get through. You have to really conserve your HP if you want to... I mean, just to get the map coverage, it's one thing, but if you want to, like, be a badass and kill everything in all the rooms, it's not easy to do. I'm actually kind of just cocky at this. Like, I'm taking hits I definitely shouldn't because I know I'm so over-leveled. Except that room, dude. That room is not something you ever fuck around with in First Castle. That room with the Valhalla Knights, or I think that's what they're called, the Headless Horse guys slash half horses. Oh, here's the Master. I think I kill him entirely with jump kicks. It's normally how I handle this guy these days. That's a very important part of Master of Unarmed Combat, is making sure you at least know you're doing something important when you kill that guy. Don't just unceremoniously dispatch him or skip him. Just get the map coverage and leave. You want to duel him and respect him. I like to imagine that he was the person who trained Alucard in combat when Alucard was still aligned with Dracula.
The student becomes the master.
Yep. And technically it's not actually a Master of Unarmed Combat file until you kill that guy, and then you take the title from him. This room is a problem. Those musket guys will fuck you up, but they don't turn around, is the interesting thing. So what you want to do is just take whatever hits you need to take to get to the very back of the room right away.
That was weird.
Yeah, it's too fast a movement for it to pick up, apparently, at least on our end. And anyway, you want to do that, kill the musket guys in the back, and then let the dudes with the swords advance toward you. And just take them out, and then advance forward and kill the other muskets. But getting through this room from front to back is extremely difficult. You'll probably die attempting it. You want to just hop over, take whatever hits you need to take, jump kick off of someone's head if you can to get the absolute back of the room, and then take the muskets out there before the sword guys turn around and turn their attention to you. The muskets will not turn around, so avoiding their damage makes that room a lot more doable. It's actually still normally a lot harder than I made it look because of, again, me being over-leveled. But that room is tough, and then the Valhalla Knights route is even more difficult. And here we are with the Minotaur and Werewolf fight. Strategy is basically the same. This actually didn't turn out really any different other from level difference. You can usually kill the werewolf before he even moves. You just get, as long as you skip the dialogue with Richter, just hit start or whatever, and get right up next to where he spawns, and he'll be gone by the time they're even ready to get going. The werewolf's dead.
This fight would actually be difficult if you couldn't skip the dialogue.
Sometimes, I guess. The Minotaur, there's times I've come in here where he's just given me a lot of hits and stuff, but, yeah, he's pretty easy to kill, too. That's almost like one of those Slogren Gaven kind of fights. I mean, in attack patterns, not similar, like Hippogriff and Cerberus are practically the same guy as Gaven, but that was similar, and just you are fighting two guys and just destroy them rather quickly with no problems. For the most part, it's unlikely you'll even take a hit. Now, normally, I would clear that room out. I'm not sure if I came back and did it or not in this file. I know I got too scared here because I was like, oh, now I got through Colosseum without dying. Well, not yet. I still have to take these guys, but I do get through it without dying. And I think I just kind of knew in my heart if I went in that room I was going to die if I tried to kill stuff in it. That's far and away the most difficult room in First Castle and Master of Unarmed Combat. So, yeah, actually, I forgot to come back even later to clear that room out. Not that it matters. I mean, at that point, you're kind of just putting off the challenge till you're sure you can handle it, so it defeats the purpose. But, yeah, trying to clear that room out's interesting in Master of Unarmed Combat. I actually need to remember to do that next time I upload a run so I can show how it's done. Killing these guys in one hit is just not right. We're coming here at level 21 again. Hunting girl duels are still fun though. The hunting girls, an interesting thing about them is their sword doesn't have collision detection when she's backed up like that. Obviously I thought about doing this for a second and then pushed out, I'm pretty sure. Yep, pushing out time. But anyway, the hunting girls, their sword doesn't have collision detection on it when they're in like that stance after you hit them and when they're just moving, so you can actually kind of like get to where the bottom part of their sword is without taking a hit as long as you don't get too far up the shaft. So even though it looks like they're angled in such a way that you shouldn't really be able to juggle them in the air, you actually can as long as you just don't let them fall back down to that ground level. It is kind of good to come at an up angle at them, though. I mean, you have some decent leeway, but I'm not sure exactly how far up the shaft of the sword you can advance before you start taking damage, so I like to come at them like a little bit from above and center and get in there and just strike him right on the hilt of the sword. And I attempted to kill this guy here. I think I failed to, if I remember right. I'm not sure how I failed to, because he's really not that tough. And that's probably actually how I fail, is just being a cocky son of a bitch and assuming I don't have to try that hard against him. Which can be your undoing Master of Unarmed Combat pretty easily. Yep, I'm just getting in there taking my hits, like, yep, fuck you, I will exhaust you of your weapons before you kill me, which wouldn't have been true if I'd tested that theory to its full conclusion, so I got scared and ran away. But, yeah, that should not have been as difficult as it was. That guy's really not that tough if you just are willing to give him enough respect to have some patience against him. I couldn't tell you what I'm up to now. We'll have to find out. That was a pretty cool 5-candle combo, though, I know that much. Oh, I'm saving, that's right, I almost died. I'll do what I'm doing. It does seem like 31 HP would have been more than enough to get through the marble gallery. I'm just assuming I'm going to the long library. But I didn't want to take the chance and screw up my 0 death record at this point. Oh no, I want to go back up there for some reason. Wonder why. I probably just want to warp to the outer wall, I guess. I was surprised I had the patience to wait for that thing. Normally I think I'd just go through the marble gallery when I saw it closed. Oh, second accidental hellfire of the game, I think.
probably hopping to the ticking again, as I want to do. I remember this shit. Yeah, that was one of those times where I tried to backslide before I had successfully turned around, and I did it twice in a row, and took me 5 or 6 tries to get up that little passage. I guess I did not have much luck with that Olrox entry this file. And I've been humbled by that thing, so I'm unwilling to challenge it. That's part of the reason. The other reason is I'm about to fight these guys, and I really kind of wanted to come at him at full HP. That guy's pretty easy. Sometimes you'll have to dodge one of his hammers. These guys are actually arguably the single most dangerous guy you can fight in first castle, if you actually want to bother to kill them. They have a pretty interesting movement range. That kick actually is something I think you should probably go out of your way to avoid most of the time, but you can actually hit him right on the bottom of his foot for the same damage as anywhere else on his body, so he's moving kind of slowly. It takes him a sec to get his leg up and down, so that sometimes the blade doing that kick to try and force you away from him is actually a good opportunity to get a lot of damage in on him. I am going to finish off Long Library and finally get the bat and gravity boots.
Almost halfway.
Yep. Also, don't use the turbo controller on Master of Unarmed Combat. Not sure why I remembered that just now, but that's something I should have said earlier on. It's just distasteful. It's easy enough to launch off rapid hits by mashing the button right. There's no reason to have that shit.
There usually isn't.
This is a little trick so you don't have to wait till you have the gravity boots to get up there. You just double jump, kick off of that book, and you can hop up here and get this map coverage.
Or the bat.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't use the bat in Master of Unarmed Combat.
Yeah, obviously.
Swede. The Long Library is another thing that was rendered relatively easy, as I said, by my Cerberus mass level up. So this is less interesting than it might be, just kind of a quick run through. This room coming up here normally is a bit of a challenge. What you want to do here is get them to advance on you one at a time. They have a certain range that they'll detect you in, and it's about the same for both of them as far as I can tell. So you basically just creep forward, get them to advance one enemy at a time, and take them out one by one. You don't really want to try that room with all of them coming at you. You can sometimes just slip through and escape by getting launched across the room by their hits and everything, but not very easy to kill all of them that way, I don't think.
Leave physics 101.
We're about to get to a really special room in Castlevania, for those of you who don't know. This room's cool as shit. Look at those chairs, man. They're like something that should be on the beach. Dracula probably killed tourists and took them from him. This is a pretty important mini-game in really any way you play Castlevania. You're just kind of an asshole if you don't try to do this. Jeff's really good at it. I'm not that great. He even takes away from like a minute of his speed runs every time by doing this. He actually could have a bit better of a time if he did not insist on doing this for quite a while every time he does a speed run.
You've seen any of the 2 videos I've uploaded so far. It's in both of them. For sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty fun mini game. I think it's pretty important to play it just to...
I usually don't play it quite as long as you did.
Well, I'm not very good at it though. I think that's the first time I've really got the hang of it, and as you saw, I still probably screwed that up 4 times out of 5. But I was happy with the successes I got. It feels good when you pull it off. There's no reason not to try.
It does, ever since I mastered it. I've done it every time since, and I don't see any reason why I would stop.
Lesser Demon's not much of a boss under the worst of circumstances for you. So I got down to 43 HP, but you know, the life max up's there, so you figure with Lesser Demon, even if you're at a lower level than me still being slightly over leveled for this, if you can get him in such a way where he's not flying up in the air right off the bat, I'd say just go in, take whatever hits you're going to take from him, and you're definitely going to kill him before he kills you. And then he automatically heals you from whatever damage you did sustain. Yeah, the bosses in this game are really easy for the most part in First Castle. Ooh, nice dodge. Nice hit. Now, here's me disregarding my own advice on the way back, which I usually think I do on the way back. I just kind of don't feel like waiting that long anymore. I already did it right once. It's certainly more important going in to take it one at a time and be patient, because you don't have, other than that life max up you get from the Lesser Demon, you don't have a save point in there, so you want to conserve your HP, but on the way back, that's the last thing before the save point, so if you have a surplus of HP, as I did when I got there, you can kind of just do it however you like, as long as you don't obviously just fuck up and die. Everything in the library except this little part. This is a weird little area that just barely has that map coverage above. I always thought that was odd. You have to actually do jumps up there to get that coverage. I just killed those guys on the way out because I like the sound they make when they die. So I kill a lot of enemies in this game, actually. Just some of them, those little shrieking ones, like the frozen shades and the ectoplasms that aren't like high pitched enough to be shrill, and just kind of like a nice fun little. I don't know. I like the way it sounds.
Speaking of sounds, it's my fault that there's no music or sound effects on this run. What was going on while he was doing it, but I had the recording of audio disabled.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the case. Not that it really matters a whole lot. I mean, anyone who's going to watch this knows what Castlevania sounds like.
is nice to hear those sounds once in a while, though, like the ectoplasm screech and everything. I could not begin to tell you where I'm going from here. Did I get the gravity boots already? Is that what I'm doing now? That must be what I'm doing now. I think I just got out of the library.
Hopefully that's what you're doing now.
Until I'm paying a lot of attention to this. A little bit of trouble with the hammer guy that time.
Cream soda.
It's not bad. Yep, this would be one of 2 times in the game you use the bat. Load on up here, get those boots. Gravity boots are really the final missing element in having your complete Master of Unarmed Combat repertoire. Here's me deliberating over where to go next. I don't know any better than I did when I played this. It's gonna be. Well, that's closed off. So
Probably want to go to Olrox's now that that's closed.
I obviously did want to go to Olrox's or it wouldn't close me off, so... Plan B, I think, was the Alchemy Lab. And no, I didn't actually want to go to Olrox. Olrox is like the last shit you do in this game. And I think I'm going to the Alchemy Lab here to fill out Sloper and Gavin's room, go up and get the back card, and get that little room you have to break into down below that I wasn't able to get because I didn't have double jump kick in the initial Alchemy Lab run.
I remember you actually go to the Royal Chapel stairs.
Do I? We'll have to see. Seems possible. Yeah, you have to go up and get the Royal Chapel upper stair coverage with gravity boots too. And then the sub-weapon room in the Alchemy Lab as well. Still takes 2 shots to kill this lightning man, huh? The prettiest orbs in the game. I'm definitely stopping to savor the sight for a moment. I just kind of wondered what it would be like if you incorporated these platforms into the fight with Sloper and Gavin. Guess I'll never know. Yep, you seem to be correct about me wanting to do the Royal Chapel. Really? I thought oh yeah, I do have gravity boots, I forgot about that already.
And then for some reason you feel compelled to go get that.
Oh, that spot I missed up above near the spike break room.
Yep.
I think I just got tired of looking at it being absent on the map whenever I checked it out, which is pretty often from this point on. How the fuck did it get hotter in here at night? Like as soon as the sun started going down, it just got insanely hot in the house.
That's how darkness works.
So,
It's not really heat, it just feels that way.
yeah, you're probably right. I started getting kind of cocky against these guys just since I'm such a higher level than when I came here. That was, if anything, the most unfortunate part about this is me being over-leveled for about like the second third of the whole game, roughly, I guess. Really made me approach shit with a lot less care than I normally would. I will have to do another one later to show how to do some of this properly when you are forced to give a fuck about it. It's like, yeah, right there. I just, I kind of even knew I was going to take the hit, but I just didn't care. Not that it matters when you have that much HP, but it's just kind of a little classier to try and pretend you give a shit. Deliberating over where to go next. I'll probably upload a version of this with and without commentary. Definitely do not have 3.5 hours worth of meaningful things to say about this video. Most of the shit I'm saying is pretty inane and pointless. And this is apparently where I decided to challenge him, which is not that interesting because of how high a level I am. And yet he still fucked me up pretty good.
We don't need to do two versions. They can always just press mute and put something else on.
That's probably a good idea. I recommend you guys do that when you watch this. Get far enough in to see this advice.
It is gonna be like 2 gig video by the time I mix the sound in.
Whatever. Feature length film. I'm gonna take a piss.
Finally got that map coverage out of the way, so I don't have to look at it anymore.
Oh shit, do you know there's a full pot of tea in there still?
You would have been the one to make it, so.
That's right, I forgot about that. I'm gonna get some tea too after this.
Is it still hot?
Probably not.
Just turn it back on.
Oh shit, it is hot. It's off. It's still hot.
I'll get some of that too.
Okay.
I can find my cup.
Yeah, that's gonna be a quest. Has anything happened that matters?
No, you're going to get the Holy Sword.
Okay. Yeah, that's not that interesting. Actually, there is one thing about the Holy Sword. I'll stick around to comment on that real quick. And then I'll take a piss and make myself a cup of tea while the video runs on. Yeah, the Holy Sword room up here
You actually, as far as I can tell, you cannot get it with your fist. That's not true of every room that you break into from below. For example, the Sword Familiar room later in Olrox's quarters, you can hit that with your fist and break in, but to my knowledge, this is like maybe even the only time you actually need to equip a weapon in Master of Unarmed Combat is to break into this room. Because it's too high for your fist to hit. If there's a way to do that, I'm not sure what it is unarmed. Alright, what did I miss? I somehow got down to 40 HP. Probably... my guess is I got fucked up by the blade and his hammer buddy. This seems like it might have been one of the parts I got pissed out by the blade. I think I skipped him a couple times. You guys know. I have no idea what happened to me while I was taking a piss. Oh shit, I forgot to get a cup of tea. I'm gonna go do that.
What? I'm gonna go get a cup of tea and drop you. Might not be hot enough for you.
That's it. I don't know. I think it's fine. I normally drink my tea cell-destroyingly scalding temperatures, but
Just right for me.
yeah. What am I doing here? Oh right, I didn't actually go accomplish my alchemy allowed goals. I got sidetracked on a huge loop through Olrox's quarters. Here we are getting this. Now this is a weird deal, because it has been a while since I played Castlevania, but I swear I remember there being a clock in that room. I remembered it enough to where I remember it being standard operating procedure for Master of Unarmed Combat to actually get the clock there to get into the room with the Alucard sword in the Marble Gallery. So that's what I was banking on. There isn't a clock here this time. Now I'm thinking about it, and I think, okay, maybe it's because I have an axe. Maybe it's somehow dependent on what sub-weapon you have. So, break one of these open here in a second. Took me a little longer to come up with that than I narrated. Okay. Got the Bible. Maybe it's different now. Nope, it's the same shit. So, I swear I fucking remember a clock being in there, but apparently I don't know what I'm talking about. Either that, or it's this room's randomly generated at the start of a file, or it's dependent on like what bosses you've beaten recently, or there's some variable there, assuming that I'm not just full of shit, which is equally possible. But I don't remember having to get a clock the old-fashioned way, and the old-fashioned way in this case was me turning on the Cube of Zoe at a certain point to do it. Which I found unfortunate, because I'm pretty sure you don't have to do that, and there's another way, but I just couldn't think of one. I'm not sure what that was all about.
You were gonna go back to the clock room, but then you remembered you forgot about this.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a good call, 'cause I way forgot all about that.
I think I hop back up here just to see if it's different. It's not.
Just in case.
I got the cross though, so that's nice. I don't have to. The cross takes up the most hearts, obviously, so you don't have to. If you made the mistake of getting a sub weapon in the first place, which you should try to avoid, the cross is something you should get at a certain point when you can, because you don't have to stop and waste all your hearts away. Why I didn't just gravity jump up there, I couldn't tell you. Oh shit, yeah, that motherfucker tried to get me an axe again, dude. They were just all about that this playthrough.
As soon as you got rid of it, someone
I know.
tried to give it back.
He really wanted me to have one. I'm sure if you're right about Pizza Hut being up until midnight.
Could just check.
Nah, we just keep the recording going.
Well, yeah, it's not like we need to stop the recording. It's not like the video playing in the window mode will matter.
Yeah, it's true. We could just... Well, no, because stuff's coming up here. That... Wait, does it matter? Is anything important coming up?
Even if there is, you can still keep talking as long as you can see it.
Oh yeah, good point. Put up in min mode. There we go. And it's all small now from my perspective. Okay, I think this is where I'm going up to acquire the clock sub-weapon that is up in Olrox's quarters by temporarily turning on the Cube of Zoe. Which I, again, just don't think that I had to do that. It seems like there should have been some way to avoid it. There we go. The clock's not bad to keep as a sub-weapon either. It's 20 hearts to use, so either the clock or the cross is sufficient to keep as an indefinite sub-weapon. You do have to have the clock, obviously, at a certain point to get total map clearage in first castle, so that is the point at which you can no longer just breeze through without a sub-weapon and not have to worry about accumulating hearts.
And yeah, it's Friday, so it's actually up until 1.
Oh, nice. As long as they don't lock us out like that chick tried to last night.
She was scared.
Yeah, kind of felt like that was just her personal paranoia, not at all related to store policy, but it made sense. Whenever.
South Pines Pizza Hut. A place where people break in for pizza.
And she was a lone girl looking there. what, when we go there, like 11 or so, 10:30, 11.
Knock on the window.
Not that that's really a high crime area, but
That's
that was,
what I was referring to.
that was kind of ridiculous. Or just, we placed an online order ahead of time, and she's still like, "Who the fuck are you guys?"
Prove your identity.
Didn't you actually have to do that too?
I don't think so.
I thought you did pull out your ID.
I wouldn't have been surprised if she asked.
Looks to me like I'm on my way to Grand Balloon, probably.
You're enjoying the relevant commentary.
The Pizza Hut's been a pretty crucial side quest in this commentary. Oh, I'm on my way to Succubus first. Oh yeah, I'm on my way to all the shit down here I still have to do. Succubus, that room I missed in the Abandoned Mine, filling out the water in Underground Caverns I think I still have to do, and getting the Holy Symbol, and then on to the Catacombs. Succubus is a really easy boss fight, like pretty much all of them are. Really just saved the only fun ones for last. Sorry about that. I'd been a man instead of a bitch, I would have done Grand Falloon and went down to Abandoned Mines. I had too much bitch in me. Speaking of bitch, here we go. Or, you know, take your time, no big deal. Alright, here we go.
Okay, you're on to something here with this bullshit. It's starting to get really hot.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so Succubus comes, she and Katarasumon are actually kind of similar in how you fight them. You basically knock her up into a corner, and at that point, it's pretty easy to hop right up at her and keep hitting her, and just not be in a place where she hits you with her wing tendrils. As long as you come at her from a low enough angle, like a 6 or 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock, it's pretty good. This part, I don't think there's a logical method to get her, but you just, it's one of those things you kind of know. It's like video game ESP, where you're just, she makes all the clones, there's only one right one, but you just kind of get a feeling like, yeah, that was the one. So I went in and hit her. It's like Mario Brothers 3, you know, you have, was it the multiple chest rooms in Mario 3, and some of them contain good items, and some are just like a mushroom, and there's no way to know, but you kind of know, you just feel it, and you're like, yeah, that's got the Star in it, or that's got the leaf, this other one over here is a mushroom, you just know. You gotta just kind of fall in on your instincts with that. If not, the Succubus fight does take a bit longer if you fuck that up and don't just kind of have the sense of which one she is. There might actually be a more definite way to do that and tell, I'm not really sure. I don't think there is, though. Alright, on to the Holy Symbol. Frozen Shades. Always a pleasure to kill him. This guy, I just feel like he's a shadier dude than the other oarsmen. Or, which one's the ferryman? Is the other one the ferryman?
Are you sure they're different?
Yeah, they have different names. I think one's the oarsman and one's the ferryman, I want to say.
No idea.
I suspect this guy's name is probably the ferryman, because I get a sense of him just being kind of a shady motherfucker who you can't drop your guard around.
Why do you need a Merman Statue to summon a ferryman?
That's a good question. He probably just likes it. That's probably his payment, actually. But you keep it. It's still in your inventory, so obviously you didn't pay the ferryman, which is always a good policy. And you're supposed to pay him when he gets you to the other side, but look, there's more water there. You had to wade through some of that shit. He didn't finish your job. Who does that song, Don't Pay the Ferryman?
Chris Deeper or Deeper.
Is he actually in, like, any bands or anything? Is he notable for something other than Don't Pay the Ferryman?
Lady in Red.
Don't even know what that is.
Another popular 80s song. It's probably in a movie or two.
Mm. But he just did it as like a solo artist.
Yep.
Hmm.
A lot of decent 80s solo artists with 1 or 2 hits only.
Pretty common. Don't Pay the Ferryman is pretty good advice for Castlevania. I'm glad I heard it.
Could just play that song right now, but then I'd be doing the exact thing that prompted me in the first place to turn the
Not putting
music
copyright
up.
music on. I don't think it really would matter, honestly. I mean, I don't know. Just next time we record it, put in some audio, keep the normal audio.
I didn't premeditate this at all. Like, this would be a pretty different video if I had it in my head that I would upload it when I was doing all this shit.
It's a good enough practice, though, that next time you can probably premeditate first.
This is almost more than practice, really. Like, this is a fucking good run.
It is. I'm glad you decided you wanted to upload it.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly because of the 0 deaths going on for so long.
You did have some close calls.
That's what makes it fun.
Indeed. Goddamn fish heads.
I like them. There's just a sense of some magical world under the sea that the fish heads live in peace. They get very territorial when you invade them. Sometimes wish I could just be a part of the fish heads world. They come in pairs too. They're always together. You never really see a fish head just by itself. They watch out for each other.
That's how you kill a single one.
Yeah. That fish head's alone. It would be cruel to leave him by himself because it does matter to them to have friends. They're social animals, clearly. Jeez. They can breathe fire underwater. It's kind of weird.
And fire missiles.
That's normal, torpedoes and stuff. Been around
Yeah, but
forever.
torpedoes aren't propelled by fire. Missiles are.
Their missiles are propelled by fire?
Sure looks that way.
Never noticed. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm probably checking to make sure I filled out all the underground caverns map coverage, which I believe I did.
Getting another soda.
I think I was pretty much through my sodas by this point. I killed them off pretty quick into it. We're into
Did you?
like the last third of it at this point, yeah. Thank God, too, man. Sitting here just talking about this video that I lived through just a few hours ago.
It's
Ready
kinda
for a fucking
ridiculous.
break. Yeah. Here I am at the abandoned mines again. Here I am at the map again.
The most visited section of the castle.
Oh, look at that map. Look at all that shit that's done. There's seriously just Catacombs and Clock Tower. And actually the entrance I haven't done yet either, have I?
Apparently not.
That would make sense. I'm probably planning to get that when I pop out. Yeah, I have to go get this room. This would be the point at which Jeff reminded me that I fucked up and didn't get it when I should have earlier. And frankly, the only reason he did remind me of that is because we had an in-depth conversation about there being a peanut room. And he's like, dude, you missed the peanut room.
Forgot all about that conversation already. Oh, and a turkey.
Oh yeah, that doesn't matter. It's all about the peanuts in there. And summoning the final boss item.
Hey Dad, I need a hand killing your minions.
I don't remember a hand killing his minions. It's ridiculous. What are you doing? Oh, I got the clock now. Which I forgot that was also another objective going down here, was I got that clock, but I didn't have enough hearts to use it, so amassing the hearts to actually be able to get into the Alucard room was important. What I'm going this way for, I don't know, because what I need to be doing is not that. But
Hey, at least we figured it out before going in.
yeah. I'm just coming to like an exhausted state of mind from playing it for so long. Now I'm gonna warp back up to Olrox, presumably, once I get distracted and go to the wrong place.
Right, you were worried about accidentally using all your hearts?
Yeah. I was kind of concerned that in the heat of the Grand Balloon fight, if I did all the Catacombs first, I might accidentally up square something. So now I'm coming out this way. I think I get my ass beat pretty hard here, if I remember. Because I came in with 141 HP, and yeah, that hammer hit was bad. So I'm down to 40. I think that's what happened last time I got fucked up by them too, same HP. And I'm gonna run away now to the entrance and heal, and then I'm gonna come back in a condition to actually dominate them. Still might just skip them, not sure, but yeah, that was a pretty close call.
Gotta learn how to jump over that hammer if you want to skip them.
It's not really that hard. I'm not sure why I failed. I think I was just shocked at the difficulty I was having and unprepared to remedy my crisis.
Blades can do that too.
What'd you think of that tea? Did you try yours yet?
Yeah, I finished that pretty quick. It was pretty good.
Really? Not good.
I do like cinnamon most of the time.
Yeah, it's nice 'cause it's got a bunch of other stuff. I mean, the cinnamon bark sort of masks the diversity of ingredients in that one, but
I think I might have actually tried that before.
It's possible. I've been drinking it for a while, but it's kind of nice because, you know, it's not like just overwhelmingly haunting your taste buds for hours like straight cinnamon tea is, but you still get that flavor. Ow.
It is pretty unfortunate you can't ever wield a hammer weapon like that in this game.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be really cool, actually. Okay. Zip up to get that Alucard sword here. Got fucked by this thing again. And Kiro's actually practicing gravity boots because I have been noticing I'm at this point in the file that I was being less precise with them than I usually am in an unarmed run, so I was kind of just messing around with them to get the hang of making sure I could time the multiple gravity boots jumps right without screwing it up. It's pretty important. And now we return to the abandoned mine.
I think I need to start downloading something.
What are you gonna get?
I'm gonna get this week's real time. I haven't watched that in a while.
An incriminating statement.
This is still window mode as well.
Actually, I've been keeping up on real time lately.
I almost got last week's, but I just didn't. You have HBO at your parents' already?
I do, yeah.
That's nice.
Well, they have satellite over there, so it's
Oh, bro.
yeah, it's not really any more convenient unless you happen to be like in front of their TV while it's on.
Satellite doesn't have an on-demand type thing.
No, I think you can record stuff on it or something. I don't really fully understand how it works, but I mean, yeah, it's not really any convenient at all. It's better just watch it online. So it's good. I don't even know if their internet has the thing that lets you watch it online on the HBO site, because
No, you'd have to have Comcast.
yeah, that's what I thought. You had to have cable for that, so they don't even have that going for them.
Actually, no, maybe not. Yeah, I do think you don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm
River's right. Now, here we are on the Catacombs. The Catacombs are pretty easy no matter what level you get down here at, and we are at the point now where there's not much of a level gap between where I could conceivably have gotten down here at and where I am now, so that huge boost I got from Cerberus is pretty much rounded off to being right about where I'm supposed to be. I went in there and looked at the cat's eye circlet because I like that thing, because it describes cat type damage as though it's in form of element, and I don't know, I just like that item. But I'm not using it, obviously. So yeah, these guys, most enemies in the Catacombs are pretty easy to just destroy without taking a hit from, but if you allow them to start attacking you, things can get bad pretty quickly. Like those were-panthers, I think they only take about 2 hits to kill, but if you let them start running around and transforming and shooting volleys of bones at you, it can actually start being problematic. At the very least, it can knock down your HP enough to where you're less enabled to survive the next rooms you get to, and you have to basically do a straight shot to Grand Balloon from that save point that I was just at. There's one right outside of him, but you have to get to that save point, and there's a number of obstacles between here and there. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on these guys. Sometimes that life max up can be good to leave for the way back. Just depends on how low on HP you are when you get down here. I was ridiculously low. It's pretty easy to get there to that room without taking a hit. This room's not as scary as it looks. The Gravekeepers jump around in such a weird pattern that they're often just overshoot their attacks on you. That guy has his Christmas tree flame attack and his shoot attack and some melee stuff he's doing, kind of like the Minotaur. But his melee doesn't really hurt you enough to where you can kind of just let him slide by you, and he usually doesn't go very far, so you can just turn around and keep wailing on him. Like the most straight fire attacks, you can duck under his shot and just keep attacking him, so that as long as you jump out of the way of the Christmas tree attack, you're good. These hobo things, low softs I guess they're called, are usually pretty easy to kill. You take a gamble, because if you don't kill them right away, if you just screw up the timing and they're enabled to do that fire attack on you, it can add up pretty quick. I think that's 27 or so damage, so you just want to make sure you don't let them be on the screen very long if you're going to go in and kill them and not just ignore them, because the longer they're there, it seems like the more likely they are to interrupt your combo to take them out with one of those fires. Me just using a clock to get out of the way, and now I'm going to go fight the Discus Lord. And this guy is another one, like most things in the Catacombs, he's just not as scary as he looks. He has a lot of things he can do with that disc, but you just, I took some hits there, probably didn't need to, but once you get right up next to his knee like that, he will just run that thing above your head over and over again, like so many other things in Master of Unarmed Combat. Crouching right next to the enemy puts you out of range of anything that they can actually hit you with. There's an example, 26, I guess, not 27, but yeah, that was me failing to have killed one of the hobos in a timely manner. I'm actually down to 77, which is pretty low, all things considered. Like, it wouldn't have taken more than a couple more mistakes for me to have died on that run. So it's not that hard to get here, but you do just have to watch your HP and know how you're going to attack everything you come across. The pig guy who shoots the Christmas tree fire is probably the biggest problem, potentially, honestly.
You saved a lot.
Yeah. Probably because I thought if I died against Grand Balloon, which is not likely, but I just didn't want to go back in that room and get that thing again. That was I think that's what was going through my head at the time. I have to get a walk armor 2 whole times.
That would take forever.
That would suck. That would take almost as long as that save took.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I'm looking at this. I'm probably planning my post-Grand Balloon route or something. So, eventually I'll close out of the map and go do the Grand Balloon boss fight. even think about skipping ahead in this video, Jeff.
It's time.
Okay.
2 hours and 29 minutes.
So, yeah, a little under an hour to go.
Well, a little more than an hour.
Oh, I thought you said I finished at 3:26. Oh yeah, the video time. You're
Yeah.
talking about the play time. Gotcha. What the I must have been taking a piss or something at this point.
Must have.
Alright, here we go. Go time. You usually won't get close to death on Grampoline, but it is kind of nice to just go at him with full HP to be sure, so, you know, sometimes you wait for this fire to disappear. If you're really ballsy, you can jump kick through it. I don't think I did that this time, but sometimes I like to just line it up and just do a solid double jump kick through that. Around. Here we are, Grampoline. This is probably the first boss fight that can go seriously wrong if you don't do it right. And I'd made a few mistakes here, but on the whole it went okay. This is probably the first one. I kept aiming for the top stuff where I really should have just dealt with the zombies in a more patient manner and double jumped up to that middle section to get it out of the way quickly. You want to get that. You want to be on this side because you have the platforms. That's important. Get on this side right away across the screen, and you can sometimes land in a double jump on the way over on his head. And take that out because where he spawns zombies is relevant to how far over on the left-right axis those go, so that thing comes closest to you, and it's going to be really difficult for you to get the top one and the bottom with that thing just barely able to dump some zombies right on your head. He doesn't start using the lasers until a little later, so you've got some freedom to kind of just do whatever here. A good trick with Grampoline is when you do the gravity jump, all the zombies, if you get high enough, that are on the floor will actually vanish. I'm not sure why that is, but if you exploit that trick, it really does make this fight a lot easier. I like to get the top one out of the way kind of quickly because it lets you not have to worry about shit falling from way high up that you might not notice when you're taking out this bottom section. It's a little easier to deal with zombies coming right at you from only one of these rather than 3, too. And I also didn't remember for sure when his lasers started firing, and I was thinking it would be easier, you know, if he starts firing after 2, if he's just aiming at the ceiling. And they probably do start firing at this point, it's just I'm not in their line of fire enough to trigger one to go off. And here we are. At this point, you can basically go straight for the middle and kill it. Like, getting those 3 out of the way is pretty essential. It's just... You could probably leave the top one if you wanted to, but that's just way too annoying. Those things do a little over 50 damage to you, I think, if they hit you, so it's good to avoid them. The way I came at it this time, I really only had to deal with the bottom ones, but sometimes I leave the top one for later, and you have to dodge the middle, and that's actually kind of nice because the middle's a lot easier to dodge. You just fall to the floor. This guy, so you have to... kind of depends on the zombies next to you, and still pretty easy to avoid, but sometimes you want to just get over to those platforms. It's really nice if you can trigger the top ones to go off like that. It just saves you a bit of time to where you know you're not going to have to worry about pulling back while it's firing. It's pretty much over now. I typically like to kill everything in the middle just to keep zombies from falling on me while I'm going after its heart. This time I don't think I did do that because it was just too exposed and I couldn't resist killing it right away, but sometimes it's just easier to kill those things on the top. I think they have less HP than the middle. The middle has 400 HP, I know that. I'm not sure what the brain part things around it have. Generally, there's no point in killing the other third, obviously, and if you kill all of them, Grampoline becomes the most dangerous thing in the first castle by far, and I'm not even sure I've ever beaten him in his ultimate form, unarmed. But yeah, this is basically over. Grampolin's pretty easy. He's just kind of strange looking and has all these parts, and if you're not careful and don't know like how far the zombies are going to be falling over at any given time, sometimes you can just take hits. I took a hit from the laser a while ago, but it's kind of too late in the game for it to matter. Yeah, he's moral of the Catacombs is everything down here is not nearly as scary as it looks in Master of Unarmed Combat. It's all pretty easy if you just know how to go at it.
Thornweed. I always get hit by that.
I didn't even remember there were ones in there when I went in. Because of those platforms spawning later, you can actually beat Grampolin before you get the gravity boots. I really should have just gone and done that. I know I've taken him at level 20 before, so he's pretty easy no matter what. As long as you've got the Leapstone, by the time you get down here, you're definitely going to be at a high enough level just from the shit you've had to take out on the way to him to beat him. He's still the hardest thing I've fought so far in bosses before Olrox, but it's still not that tough.
One match. Pause.
Yep. What do I have left at this point? Clock Tower and all the Spike Breaker / Holy Glasses crap. I think that's it. And we're filling up Castle Keep, but that's kind of part of Clock Tower.
Well, all of Olrox's upper quarters.
Yeah, but that's kind of part of the Holy Glasses quest too.
Yeah,
And in the route I took, it is. It was made to become part of that. Here I am dancing around. I think I'm trying to dance to the Catacombs music.
it's good music to dance to.
Yeah, there's some pretty nice beats in Castlevania to rock out to. Just load again. I think I took hits from this guy both times. Normally, I wouldn't, so I was kind of starting to get lazy at this point. Kind of checking my experience here because the fight with Olrox is fast coming up, and that's the real test of all First Castle. And I did want to be at level 27 for that, because I don't think I'd beat him more than level 27. I probably could at 26, but I was kind of just checking to see how likely it was going to be that I advanced to 27 by the time I get to his place.
Fire Beast is what this music comes from.
I can't believe I don't know the names of all the enemies as much as I've played this game in my life.
Can't remember a lot of them.
I remember them pretty well when I'm like playing it every day for a week or whatever, but if I take a break for a few months I start to forget them. Here, for some reason, I decided to just fill out the map coverage before the Spike Breaker, despite not going in there.
I took a hit from this thing because it had been so long since I'd seen it launch one of those off, I actually forgot what kind of attack it was. I was kind of expecting more of a beam. Probably didn't need to take as long as it did. Okay, now run in there. Obviously you don't really need the Echo of Bat to go through there. It's just kind of the proper way to do stuff, and you know, there's several reasons why you don't actually. You can do the mist if you just remember the route well enough. That's pretty easy. Stay as mist all the way through. If you remember the distance to travel and kind of like just check out how many times the bats beat its wings and moved and stuff, you can kind of just like more mathematically navigate through it like that, I think. But the biggest reason why I don't really need to go do the Echo Bat before that if I don't want to is because on Jeff's emulator, for some reason, that room does not show up as black. The spikes are clearly visible in it, so when I go there later, you're gonna see they're all, like, right there, and I don't even need to do shit. It's obvious where they are. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I haven't figured out, albeit I haven't put much effort into figuring out why that is yet. It's like the only graphical glitch.
The outer wall will make the up and down parts blue, which I don't know. I don't think that happens in the PlayStation game. Anytime you're outside really and have open sky, the black bars become blue.
I don't remember that.
Those are the only two, I think, and the vibrating
Candles.
candle madness, yeah. But, yeah, even though the state of the emulator and just, you know, frankly, I mean, I know what I'm doing enough in that room to where I probably could just go through the mist, but because of the plain visibility of the spikes on this emulator, I kind of just feel like it's not that cool, because the whole point of mist is showing that you can get through it without the Echo of Bat, and it's just so easy that it just seems like cheating. Because of the visibility of the spikes, so, you know, if I'm not doing that to just show, hey, I can get through without the Echo of Bat, there's just at least make the pretense of doing it the right way and get the Echo of Bat is the logic I was using here. Now I'm going to fill out the entrance. Yep. Yeah, see, there's the blue bar glitch right there. And even in here. This is a game called the Zombie Challenge, and what you're supposed to do here is stay in the air all the way across. Now you see I already failed that, but you want to do your jump kicks off of the zombies and try and just jump off their heads and stay airborne all the way across the room. I used to be really good at the Zombie Challenge. I'm not that great anymore. There was a time when I could pull that off like without candles even, but I use the candles now and I still don't quite do it. In the Jewel Sword room. The other room is more like the training wheels of the Zombie Challenge because you have blood zombies to bounce off of too. I'm high enough level now where I can kill those blood zombies in one jump kick, but man, if you get in there earlier and it takes you like 2 hits to kill them, that really helps with the Zombie Challenge. So that and double chair sliding are the 2 mini games in this, really, that you should just make sure you give a try if you're ever going to do this. Which you probably won't, because Naked Alucard is too well established as a Castlevania tradition, and no one's going to give a shit about this.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure about that, but we'll have to see. Our general unwillingness to promote ourselves on YouTube or go on the video game forums and link to this and stuff is going to be the biggest handicap.
That's true. I don't give a
That's
shit that much.
the ultimate danger.
the popularity of Castlevania as we play it. Although, with POW just pulled out of my ass this commentary and playthrough was, there's not much of a point in trying to promote this much more than it naturally gets promotion.
Yeah.
If I ever do a more professional video at some point, then maybe I'll think about that.
Yeah, I'll promote a video that I put correctly on my site at some point in the future, but I'm not going to promote YouTube mostly half-assed shit.
Your speedrun video is pretty well done, actually. I don't know. Yeah, I know you
so
can do.
much shit.
I know you can do a lot better than you did, even. But if you get a sub 120 in the near future, I think that would be fine to do just like some commentary on and actually start showing it to people proactively instead of just letting it be on YouTube for whoever runs into it.
I know you don't care about stuff like this. I don't know how many people do, but I also want to do a 1080p recording at some point.
I will admit I don't get what point that would have for a PlayStation 1 game.
Just because I can.
You do like your high video and audio quality on stuff. As if this video being 2 gigabytes wasn't enough.
It probably won't actually do that, maybe like 1.4.
Jeez, I asked people like that. I always thought those swords should hurt you, and I actually believed they did for a long time. It took me years to learn that they didn't, because I would always jump over them or avoid them in some way, because I just assumed they'd hit you, and I was like, that probably hits you for like 120 damage. I'm not fucking taking that hit. So I always avoided it, and then one day I failed to avoid it, and there were no consequences, and I was a bit disappointed.
It sure as hell should hurt you a lot.
Boy, I just do not give a shit about this. It's one of those things I'm just banking on my ability to take him out before he gets me. He's the only problem. Most of these guys are no big deal. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I just took the hit. Like, no, I have enough HP. I don't give a shit. Do what you're gonna do.
Yep. Same as it was 5 minutes ago, pretty much.
Yeah, right. I got a lot of shit in the inference. What are you talking about? Look at that map coverage. Clock Tower is likely where I'm going to go next, since I think at this point I'm just filling off everything I can before the Olrox fight, just as like a way of having no regrets before I go to meet my likely death at Olrox's hands. Did you solve the mystery of why it's so damn hot in here?
I did not. It is really hot in here.
Seems like it's less hot than it was when I first started bitching about it, but I'm not certain. Probably because the windows are all closed because of that wasp invasion earlier.
Just go from winter to spring and back to winter.
That would be the shit. Perfect world. The seasons would work that way. They try to, since we know humans can affect the planet rather than just destroying the planet by making random, undesired byproducts of other stuff we're unwilling to stop doing, we should try to plan our destruction of the climate in such a way that we actually just get winter and spring and other seasons. That'd be the way to do it. Didn't like Siberia and Alaska have, those bad fucking summers where it gets to like 80 degrees and everything melts and turns into this shithole mosquito-filled swamp? Like, nowhere you can get away from the tyranny of summer.
Antarctica.
I don't know about that, man. I mean, I have no evidence that they're isn't a single there that knows that it is either. Probably isn't, but we'll change that.
It's somewhere there, like -40.
Nah, it's not that cold down there. The coldest place it gets on the planet is, to my knowledge, is Siberia. Certain parts, it's, I think, in Fahrenheit, -95, I want to say, is the coldest on record up there. There could be parts of Antarctica where it's been measured lower, that's what I've read. I know in the same fucking, like, spot in Siberia, though, where it gets down to, like, the -80s and 90s, it will get up to the positive 80s for about 6 weeks out of the year.
That's just crazy.
You just never have a time where you're allowed to be comfortable over there. As most people don't mind 80s, but yeah, if they add 80s in the midst of a mosquito-filled shithole, melted snow mucking about you everywhere you walk, it probably feel differently. But we start talking about mosquitoes in Siberia, commentary on Castlevania.
Really important commentary that'll help get more viewers.
You guys should read The Reindeer People by Kirsty. That's where I learned all this shit about Siberia from. It's actually pretty much the only stuff I know about Siberia, so...
I think it does get colder than 95 below 0 Fahrenheit, though, in Antarctica.
I hope so.
Obviously not all of it, but in certain points.
I always somehow leave the clock tower for last. Like, even in my normal runs back when I played this game in the old days, I couldn't ever think of a reason why you would want to go up here. It's like, you get all the map coverage, but there's really nothing good in the whole clock tower. It's just sort of this place between the outer wall and Castle Keep that you have to get taken care of if you want to get 100.1%.
My favorite song of the first castle?
One of them. I think the Olrox's Quarter song is my favorite still.
If you've watched my recent video, now that I actually come to the clock tower first, as soon as I finish the outer wall.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That seems like it would be the most fun time to go here, but I don't know. Even though I do loop around and redo places a lot in this game, the way I go through it most of the time, for some reason the clock tower just seems like a place I would never want to have to go to more than once. I don't even dislike it, I just, for some reason, don't ever want to like loop back and have to go gravity boots that other shit above at some later time.
It takes so long.
I don't know why I went into the top way, because I just had to go down and back up.
Actually have gone through the top before and accidentally missed
On a speed run.
that map coverage. 0.2% or whatever it is. Yeah. Speed run.
I got these damn things. Yeah. That one's 3. These are actually consistent numbers for those who don't know. I think this one's like
14.
Yeah, 14.
If you like.
Sometimes this is a good way to do it, just jump kicking it if they're starting to come at you, because the Medusas, like in the outer wall, will target you based on where you're at, like which side of the screen they come from and what latitudes they come at you from. So you can kind of like start jump kicking, and a swarm that's coming at you will miss you and they'll reposition their angle of attack, and then by the time they've done that, you can just go back to hitting it below, and it's kind of a nice way to avoid taking Medusa hits while you're getting these things. That one was 8, and this one's 2.
Correct.
Now, I'm in the gills. There was one time I got trapped below that floor somehow. I'm not sure how I did that, but I think I'm having a conversation with Jeff here about getting trapped below the floor, and that's why I stood there for a long time, and I indicated which part I got trapped under. But, yeah, I don't know much about the glitches where people, like, get 376% map coverage and all that crazy shit in this game, but I assume I have to have accidentally done one of those. These guys, another not as scary as it looks enemy. Fleeing men, on the other hand, are far scarier than they look. Jeez, I took some notes from those guys, though, nevertheless. There's a cloaked knight up here, which are kind of one of the enemies from the first castle that never stop being a problem, no matter how far into Master of Unarmed combat you advance.
Second castle.
Well, yeah, but they're from the first castle initially.
Oh.
They're native to the first castle and migrated into the second. Dude, no one who... Why would you live in the second castle and migrate to the first? That doesn't make any sense. You obviously are looking for a better life in the second castle.
There's only one here.
Yeah, well, he's the only one dumb enough not to leave. Yeah, Cloaked Knights. They are dangerous as fuck in the second castle, which when I play through that, you're gonna see how dangerous as fuck they are. These guys are pretty easy. They're kinda remind me of the hunting girls a little, because they're invisible swords after you take out the thing that is grabbing them. So, the other interesting thing about these guys is I don't believe they will turn around on you either. Much like the musket guys, which is actually a problem rather than a good thing sometimes with these. I think there's a part coming up we're going to see how that can be a problem.
I seem to remember they will turn around, but only if they really feel like it.
Yeah, I didn't really expect him to not for that long, but his sword's behind him is the problem. So when he's not turned around, like the back side he's not attacking you from is by far the most dangerous. You're more likely to get hit there with him from him doing swipes at you from the front. Yeah, those guys took out in about 2 or 3 hits. 3 is fine now.
How you still jumped across those?
It's kind of like hop sitting in chairs. It's just something you gotta do.
I don't think I ever did that until I first came here immediately.
It's the right way to do it.
Because there's no other way to do it when you do that this early.
That would be awesome. Having to do that instead of just wanting to. I think I was just sort of entertained by the synchronicity between my jumps and the pendulum's movement. I wasn't really even trying to get on it. These 3 items. And now Karasuman is another really easy boss.
Usually.
I mean, if you fuck something up, you fuck something up. You can make anything difficult by your own effort. Castlevania. I actually took some hits on him, which is weird. Like, I never get hit by Karasuman. Let alone give him the chance to attack. But he's basically kind of just a shittier version of Succubus. A lot of the boss patterns just get recycled in this. Gaiden and Karasuman patterns, at least. Slogra is actually pretty much the same thing as the Minotaur in a lot of ways too. The Minotaur's a little more dangerous, but yeah, it's not the giant ones with the multiple parts, or more the hard ones out. Okay, now I'm filling out map coverage up here, which is obviously a hugely inefficient way of doing things, but I, for some reason, just really felt like getting all this shit right after Grand Falloon, but before Olrox, so that I could basically just do the Holy Glasses quest without having to sidetrack myself. Just gotta watch the parts to remember when to use your sub-weapons, so you don't use them to any practical end. Actually, kind of surprised I never lost track of that in this style, because sometimes I have in other playthroughs.
Not gravity jumping to get there.
Nope.
That'll be too easy.
I wasn't very good at utilizing gravity jumps in this playthrough, despite how effectively I did utilize them in some parts, but yeah, I don't know why I failed too well. Oh shit, I'm gonna go long break from Castlevania after this. 8 hours of my life today just spent playing this and then watching myself play it again. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I get the impression most people do this over several days. I kind of see why people start cutting together videos and stuff and eliminating things now. But actually, I'm gonna say, for future reference, any videos of this, now that the core concept's been introduced and I've shown like a full first castle playthrough, I'll do the second castle one, but then I think it's time to like film really specific things, like certain rooms or clearing a certain area, and just show like certain parts that are actually interesting and merit commentary. Boss fights here and there. But yeah, this is insane, dude. I do not have enough shit to say about this. And then there are certain parts I have a lot to say about, but I don't like remember to preempt them in time because I'm kind of just used to being lazy and not paying attention to what's going on this time. Ooh. Alright, and we're done with all that, and I believe it's time to head over to Olrox. With that one little square to cover on the map there on the right. Pretty sure I forget to do that and go in and come back out and do it, and then I go to Olrox. Gotta make sure I got the turf range and not my glad in my arsenal. Oh, I do.
Only notice it sometimes.
Oh, I was trying to save and
Forgot where it
took
was.
me 3 guesses to get the room. Oh, that is what happens when you play for 3 hours straight, apparently. Dude, I used to be able to play video games for like 24 hours straight when I was younger, and I could just stay on top of shit and not have any problems.
Holy shit, I don't know how many years it's been since I've been able to do that.
I know I've had a couple times in my life, back when I was a frequent gamer when I played games for that long. Final Fantasy VII beating all of Disc 2 in one session when I was in 8th grade was my first 24-hour play, and I think I did, that was about exactly 24 hours.
Damn. I don't remember how long this took me my first time through, but it doesn't seem like it being the first time it would take that long.
You played Final Fantasy 7 a fuck of a while now. You don't know what you're doing and you're like 13 years old.
There is a lot of movie shit, I guess.
This could a decent amount of stuff if you were willing to do it. I mean, it can be like a lot less than that even the first time through if you just skip like the last couple huge materia and don't do a lot of the side quests.
You actually like get a gold chip for them too or something?
Fuck you, I don't do that stupid shit. Game was so fucking boring, I never did the chocobo breeding shit. Just to get a goddamn Knights of Round that
It's
you can
pointless.
not use on any of the easy ass bosses in that game. I guess Emerald Weapon shit, but you, unless you want to do all that stupid chocobo stuff, you basically have to beat Emerald Weapon to get Knights of Round. God, I'm kind of disappointed I never killed those guys in the Colosseum. That is definitely the toughest room in First Castle. I can't land on.
Best way for the fun of it.
Oh, I didn't know when this way to get the map coverage. I don't think I've gotten it yet. Here's a place you can break into from the bottom of your fist.
I am not for sure you can do it also somehow.
I don't know how if you can somewhere. Give it a little more of a try next time I play to be more sure, but I'm pretty sure it's the one time you need to equip a sword in this.
You're probably right. You should just soul stick with these two.
Yeah. Okay.
Productivity. That's out.
Yeah. Oh, you're trying to get tonight's?
Yeah.
I didn't register that for some reason. I'm trying to figure out it's Friday. Ooh, I forgot this room. Alright, now we are coming up on the Olrox fight, and this is some serious shit. Where did the mic go, dude? I think it fell down. It's been on the floor for God knows how long. I don't even know how much of this got picked up.
Shit.
Well,
That could be interesting.
did that just happen when you moved around to do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, we'll see what it picked up and didn't. Here's the Olrox fight coming up, and this is some serious shit. This is actually, I died twice in this run, like I said. Both of them were on Olrox. And,
So you're going to see 3 attempts, because I did just reload. This is a straight, complete record. And, yeah, there's some stuff involved in this. I have another thing I uploaded a while ago that was just... Well, Jeff uploaded rather on his account, but I did, was just an unarmed fight against Olrox, just that part. I am at level 26 going in, and that affected me a little, because I've never beaten him less than 27, and I've seen an attack boost go up in 27 that has made a legitimate difference in how many times you have to strike him to kill him. And it really does come down to, like, who's going to get the last hit in, usually, on Olrox. Like, it is... Rarely are you going to get out of this fight without, like, just an inch of life left in you. And, so that threw me off. I think me dying the first time, not that I would have expected to beat him in one try, that I don't think has ever happened. But, I was a little psyched out by being only 26. My hope was I would go up to 27 after beating his first form. Gotta kick his table to just show me mean business. The key on this is you just zip in. It's actually kind of similar to the Gaben style, where you just get right up next to him. If you stay below, the things he summons will not usually dip down to that level to hit you, so he's pretty easy to take out. I will say if you take a hit on his first form, there's almost no point in even trying. Like, you should just reset it. And he's got 4 forms after this, and they're based on the frequency with which fireballs are emitted from him, and the frequency with which his little beam up things are emitted. Striking him in the head is the best thing to do. His hands, I think, are about a third of the damage as his head, and you risk him just doing weird shit and hitting you more with his hands. This is a nice thing here. If you can get him in those loops, sometimes you'll just have him, usually crouching in the corner will let you avoid that. Sometimes just the way his body lines up, he does hit you, but that's normally the best way to avoid him when he's coming in like that. Anyway, yeah, if you can get him in those loops like I had him in a second ago, where he's launches forward and tries to, like, kind of grab you as a counterattack to you hitting his head, and then steps back, you can avoid that easily, and you can land off several hits sometimes for as long as he wants to keep doing that. And this backslide, always avoid that. If you end up getting behind him for whatever reason, he will kind of, like, try and ram you from the back of his body. Those things, yeah, I kind of forgot about that, but wait till the smoke clears before you advance. Like, as long as there is a trace of the graphic triggered by that attack left, it's still a danger zone. You can kill the fireballs by hitting them. That's pretty effective, his first 2 forms of frequency, but even third to an extent. But yeah, third and fourth, you don't really want to get caught in the fire attacks if you can help it. Sometimes hard to avoid. Yeah, see, that's normally how that goes. That's his third. Like, I'm just gravity jumping above it. A lot harder to time the hits to get rid of those fireballs. I'm pretty low on health here. I think I was just psychologically demoralized by assuming I could possibly beat him at level 26. I probably could have if I just wanted it a little more. Because as you saw, I did not level up after his first form. I do get him to 4th, though. He's really, you just don't fuck up. He's pretty easy to get to 4th form. That's when it gets serious. Like, most of the damage you take in a victorious fight will come from his 4th. He'll launch more numbers of those, of course, with each form he advances to. So his 4th form he launches 4, and so on down to 1 on the first. This is nice if you can get him in that posture in the last couple forms where he's not threatening you with fireballs and you can land some hits on his knees and hands. I would say it's best to just aim for his head when you can, but like as it gets toward the end and it's down to he took me out that time, but it's down to it could go either way, which is usually the case in the end. It's where you're going to win a clear-cut victory against Olrox. Take hits where you can get them. Like, if you can just get him in some place where you are not being directly endangered, just hit his hand, hit whatever the fuck you can on him. Sometimes, like a well-placed hit to the parts that aren't his head will actually add up to as much damage, because you can hit like his hand and his knee right one after the other, and that's about 2/3 of the damage. And if you can land that a couple times, the speed with which you're able to repeat that relative to multiple headshots will actually add up to being about as much or more. So if you can get him stationary long enough to do that, that's definitely an opportunity, but at the same time, prioritize your own life. You gotta be patient against Olrox. Big things that matter on Olrox are a crit. That's really nice. If you happen to just get a critical on like his hand or something, that can make all the difference in whether or not you live to the end. Because a crit will actually be much more than just double damage, because his defense absorbs damage just from the first part of that, doubles, but basically the defense doesn't double, so you're actually hitting him for about 4 times as much. It's well worth it if you can get a crit on his hand. That can make the difference between victory and failure in a battle sometimes, so don't avoid hitting the hands just because they're low on damage. Do prioritize the head, but don't miss those opportunities if they're clear and there and ready, and you risk nothing by attempting them. I killed 2 Valhalla Knights, which give me 5 experience each, and 3 Blood Zombies, which give 1 each for a total of 13, because 13 was exactly how far short I was of a level up. From his first form, he's going to give me 333 experience. So I'm going to be at 27 now when I fight him next. Well, on the second form at least. It doesn't actually make a difference, though. I thought that my attack power might go up, but it didn't.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah. And my HP didn't go up by enough to matter when I finally do win. I'm not like right down to single digits, so I didn't need to do that. I could have beaten him at level 26, but I didn't think I could at the time. Barking my way up there, and here we are, round 2. Started on it. You just gotta chase him, and I actually didn't do a very good job of chasing him this time. Like, you can time your backslide so that you just get right up next to him and hammer away at him and never give him a chance to attack. I didn't do a very good job against his first form, frankly, in any of these fights, but this one especially. I took hits, but I just continued the fight anyway, because I didn't want to reset the emulator or whatever in the middle of the recording. I would have actually won this fight if I had not taken those hits from his first form. It was a close enough call to where I could have done it. I mentioned this much earlier in the video, but those kind of circle loop jump strikes are absolutely essential for beating Olrox. When you go in for his head, you want to do that. Single jump up and then back jump away, because he comes in right away, but you will stay out of his counterattack range, and that's one of those loops I was talking about earlier, where if you can just get him to where he wants to
pursue you physically in response to a headshot, he will often do that several times in a row, and you can rack up a lot of damage on that. Those are really nice times in the Olrox fights. Yeah, you never want to double jump in to attack him. Always save one jump for your retreat from a headshot.
Pretty quick getting him to third form.
Yeah, I got a pretty nice loop of him doing his little physical counters. He also has the arm reach thing, which I don't think he's done so far in either of these matches, but that can be a danger sometimes, so do watch out for that. His other attack. Kind of like lunges forward and thrusts out with the full length of one of his arms to grab you. Oh yeah. Those are nice times. See, yeah, right there, 2 criticals. That, I mean, I still lost this one, which frankly I didn't even need to. I just got kind of panicky. But those criticals made a huge difference in advancing the battle. That was the equivalent of 3 headshots just in the criticals, on top of whatever else I managed to get him on those knee attacks. He has 666 HP in the enemy menu, but the enemy menus are often misleading in some ways because what they don't tell you is each form has 666. His first has it and his second, so his total is actually 1332. And I think this is kind of the one guy where sometimes I've monitored the hits I've taken on him to just let me know how close I am to the end, because it gets fucking crazy on this 4th form sometimes, to where if you know he's close to death, it can pay off completely to just be brave and go in for the kill, come what may. But if it's not going to be the final blow and you're not going to be able to finish it, that boldness is what's going to get you killed. And I think I just about had him there. I think it probably would have been 1 or 2 more, but he got me with that. This next time that's going to load up is going to be the time I successfully kill him, which is actually pretty good. I don't know that I've ever got him in 3 tries before. I think that's a record for me. And it's only 2 times I died on this file, so this is a pretty good file on the whole. As much time as I spent dicking around and doing a less than optimal route through the castle.
All over the place. Whimsical. It's pretty good though still, for sure.
The other one that I had uploaded that was just an Olrox fight, I got on the first record, I should say. Like, there was a time in that when I didn't know it was recording our voices, so it's a pretty just silly shit, but I said first record after it, but I'd tried about 5 times before indicating to Jeff that I'd like to record the fight, so that was actually, I think, my 6th. So yeah, this was a record for me. This is actually, in most of the important ways that count, probably the best run I've done so far. Here we go. Still didn't do very good against this guy, but I don't believe I took a hit this time at least. Yeah.
Last time you took a hit because you pissed him off by barking at him before.
I barked at him way more this time.
Yeah, but he was ready for it this time.
Okay. Took it right off the bat there, though. Yeah, it's fairly easy to not even let his first form attack. I just kept not doing the backslides for setting off his proximity detection right. Because you can basically just get him to keep backing away from you, moving, hit him several times, and he slides away again, as long as you don't let collision with the wall throw off your rhythm. You can just keep that up till he's dead without even letting him do one move.
He does get him on one shot at some point in this
Does he?
battle.
Yeah. It's a little dull without the sound.
Yeah. Could get Olrox some theme song.
He already has his own theme song.
Well, let's get new own theme song. Does he? Isn't it just his quarters thing?
Yeah, but I mean, that's his quarters, and it's a theme song for them, so it's kind of like his. It's not his battle theme song, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does need his own battle theme song. I see what you're saying now. Ooh, oh, right into his butthole.
There it is.
I should try doing live audio commentary on a run at some point, because these Olrox fights are fucking intense. Like, they test all of your skills at Castlevania, and my just kind of like lackluster enthusiasm right now does not reflect how fucking intense this is when you're doing it. Like, the thrill I had there, like, that late in the game, having an opportunity to do that lust for a crit, and then getting the crit, I was like, fuck yeah, that, like, I kind of knew I had it once I got that crit off. I knew I'd got him into 4th, and that I'd probably be able to pull it off. Just the,
This new technique makes it a lot.
yeah, gravity jumping through him. Sometimes you get caught, though, dude. If you get hit by a fireball in that gravity jump, you are fucked. It's a risky technique. Depending on how... I'm high on HP right now, things considered, but usually you're not at this point. And, like, yeah, if you miss your first jump out of there, you might be dead before you get another shot, depending on how low you are. Yeah, as usual, his 4th form takes away most of that health.
That's it.
I think that's actually probably the highest HP I've ever finished it with, too. That was... yeah, that was my best Olrox fight to date.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember a time when, like, you know, I'd always get past the Olrox fight, but
7 HP.
yeah, there were times where, like, Master of Unarmed Combat run, you got to Olrox, and it was sort of like you needed to sit down and seriously question whether you wanted to keep playing the game. Like, I mean, you beat him, but who knows how many times it would take at that.
You try like 50 times or something with Shane.
Yeah, but Shane is not nearly as accomplished at unarmed combat as me, so probably 30 of those tries were mine, though. That first unarmed combat run I ever did was, well, the first with these rules that are current. I think I definitely probably tried 20, 30 times to beat him. remember it took a bit just to get him to fourth form. Like, that was considered an accomplishment in those days. Now it's like, if you don't get him to fourth form before you die on your worst day, you just fucking suck.
Only time I ever tried, I used more of the shitty Naked Alucard rules. Used the book sub-weapon.
Yeah, I mean,
Still didn't use any items, but
Olrox is not really difficult under... I mean, I really need to do a Naked Alucard playthrough, but, dude, if you have... Does the shield protect against those fireballs?
I don't know.
If a shield protects against those
The
fireballs...
book shield does.
Oh, really? Yeah, dude,
That's why I used it.
Okay, yeah, that's fucking cake, dude.
Well,
What
it
the
doesn't-
fuck? That's not even a battle.
It doesn't protect all the time, obviously, only when it's...
Yeah, but between that and you doing your fists, that's gotta make a huge difference. Yeah, that's... I don't think I'd ever want to do that, really. The Olrox fight is like what you look forward to every playthrough on this mode. You have sub-weapons. Yeah, I don't really like sub-weapons. They just make the game way too easy. I mean, I know the strength gap on Naked Alucard and stuff makes it kind of necessary, but it's just... doesn't seem like it'd be that fun to play compared to this.
Dagger is pretty cheesy for the most part.
Yeah, those people who just like run through on turbo controllers and daggers. Stupid.
But not compared to the shield rod and iron shield.
Well, yeah, but if you're doing a speed run, that's the way to go. You could easily knock a minute off your time by doing it that way. If you were willing to.
10.
10? How about that?
I do.
You die against him that much?
What do you mean die?
Well, that fight's about 4 minutes, even unarmed, I think, so knocking 10 off your time.
Oh, I thought you meant against like all bosses. Yeah,
Oh, against all bosses, yeah, that probably would.
probably a minute and a half against Olrox.
Should just try it sometime, dude. I know you could get sub 120 with just that, and if you eliminated just some minor mistakes here and there, you could probably get
I wouldn't
pretty
need
close to
to
that.
get sub 120. Yeah, you get sub 110, I think, with that.
Yeah, dude, I mean, if you could get close to that guy's 109 thing with a single play without having to edit together perfect runs like he does, like, that's pretty much it. I don't know of a confirmed better speed run than that in existence. You would have the record, pretty close to getting it.
Perfection would be like 58 minutes. It is doable. You couldn't make a single mistake.
Yeah, with your shield slide that guy didn't do, you actually could easily beat his time if you edited stuff together like that and just did multiple takes.
I would just have to play even more than I already do, and I already play this game way too fucking often. Anything's possible, though.
Oh my god, what the fuck? I do seem to recall I got extraordinarily just ran out of give a shit as soon as I beat Olrox. I was kind of like, okay, the castle's beat, and started taking more hits, and I lost track of what I was doing. There were several times I tried to just advance straight to Castle Keep.
Yeah.
And skip the middle stuff. Like, I'm going to get Spike Breaker here, but I think after I get Spike Breaker, I think I try to go to Castle Keep, and then remember I need to do more stuff, and then I get the rings to go to the clock tower and try to go to Castle Keep, and then remember I need to actually go get the holy glasses. And I'm going back to save, because I fucked that up pretty bad. dude. Oh, we're gonna be cutting it close on that Pizza Hut.
I think so.
Oh wait, no, I forgot that clock's fast.
Yeah, no way. Pizza closes at 1.
Yeah, but order and figure out what I want, and walk over there, and recover from sitting on my ass for 3.5 hours to come on this stupid fucking video.
Ugh.
Okay, here it is, and you guys see what I'm talking about earlier, where the emulator just shows the spikes, so it kind of sucks. I still do worse on this than I ever have in my life. I don't think I've ever run into spikes as a patch before today, and gets bad here for a bit. I kind of thought I was going to suffer a third death, but I pull through, as you'll see in a minute.
Somehow.
And I get a little more timid after that. I don't know why I'm using the echo. Probably the echo distracted me, frankly, in some ways. But I was actually having a conversation about Jeff on a speed run he did that he still got a damn good time on, like in the 130s, low 130s, I believe. But he died on the spikes and had to reload, and since we don't piece stuff together, that was in there. You know, saw the reloading and everything. Didn't add to his time since it was a death, but
some pretty comical deaths, that's for sure.
But I was talking to him about that when I was flying through, saying, man, remember that time you died in this room? And I think that just kind of reminded the game that it was possible to make you experience that, and put me in the mindset of thinking about dying. And
Oh, you forgot the library card that you would use.
oh, did I? Silly me.
Certainly a cat eye circlet.
No, that thing's important. There weren't. These are were skeletons. I thought there were were-panthers here. No, those are in the other place. But these guys,
the were skeletons turn into?
yeah, they turn into like panther things. I'm pretty sure that counts as cat damage if you let them transform. It's
Really?
frankly the only reason I didn't have it equipped. I mean, if I was a real badass, I'd go through Master of Unarmed Combat with the cat's eye circlet and secret boots on. But I'm not that cool, unfortunately.
Secret boots.
Alright, spike breaker, armor, get through this. And you have to take it off as soon as you're out. I've had some runs where I've forgotten to do that more in the chapel than here. But yeah, it raises your defense quite a bit. I don't think your defense ever goes above 3 in Unarmed. The highest level I've gotten to in an Unarmed combat run was 45. And my defense was still at 3. It just kind of tops out at 3 as far as I can tell. I don't know if it'll ever go beyond that. And every point makes a huge difference too. Like, anytime you get a defense point, that changes everything in this. I think if you had 4 defense, there'd be some stuff I've never managed to accomplish in Second Castle that I might have a chance of doing.
I think you can get 4 defense.
Why do you think that?
Might take level 50 or something. Or 55.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to get that without having more than 3 defense in the first place in unarmed combat. I don't know, if I could beat Beelzebub someday, that's basically the final boss of unarmed combat as far as I'm concerned. Galamoth might be doable if I spent like hours a day for months learning all of his patterns and just getting perfect at it, but
Galamoth doesn't have that many patterns, though.
a matter of not fucking up because you're still doing 1 damage to him at like level 40 something.
Yeah.
So you have to hit him 10,000 times. It'll be interesting. It is possible. It is probably never going to happen by my hand or anyone else's, but it is possible.
You might be able to even do more than 1 damage at some point.
You never know. I mean, the Beelzebub experience could level me up to the point of doing 2. And that would make a huge difference. It would literally cut the battle in half.
More than that with crits.
Yeah, that's true too. But Shaft is impossible. Yeah, you're never gonna fucking beat that guy Master of One-Armed Combat. There's just no way.
We'll do it someday.
No, that is not doable.
He doesn't have that much HP.
Yeah, but he has a fuck ton of defense. I don't know that I was doing more than one to him either at level 45.
I don't think you were, but I think you probably could before you could to Galamoth.
Probably so. I still maintain that Galamoth is more doable than Shaft, even with their HP gap.
Yeah, just because Shaft has so many attacks you can never avoid it.
Yeah.
What is Shaft's HP? I think it's only 1,000.
Even that.
Maybe like 600 or 800.
Of course, Shaft is really just the first form of Dracula, since you don't get a break, so you factor that in.
Yeah, Dracula's pretty much the hardest because of Shaft being first. I don't think you can avoid Dracula either, like we are that way.
Don't even remember, it's been so long since I fought him, just because I haven't done non-unarmed combat mode in such a long time. Oh man, what the fuck am I going here for? Oh yeah, I'm doing the clock room. Didn't I just do that?
Silver Ring.
Oh, I'm going out to the Holy Chapel. Fuck, I haven't even been paying attention to what's been going on here for a think about Second Castle. Oh, I'm sure some of my attempts to go to Castle Keep prematurely did happen already. God damn, dude. I'm freaking tired. This commentary shit is exhausting.
It is. I don't know why I've been sitting here this whole damn
Yeah,
time.
you had no obligation to do so, that's for sure. I kind of thought you'd go do something else at some point.
I sat here and watched this twice today. What the fuck?
You didn't watch the whole thing the first time. You came in like an hour in.
Pretty damn close.
Most of it, yeah. Oh my god. I never fucking want to see this video again as long as I live. Not gonna... I was thinking earlier, you know, I might go through and tag some times and stuff so people can skip through the more boring parts. Not fucking happening. Screw that. I never want to see any part of this again.
You just stopped caring so much at this point.
I just want it to be over. I mean, everything interesting ended. I had some motivation up to Olrox. Just like when I played the game, I stopped giving a shit after Olrox. Kind of sucks because it's actually a really epic playthrough too, but my commentary on it is just making it sound so much duller than it is at this point.
Yeah, for now I'm just gonna do commentary live.
It wasn't always like that. There was a time, hours ago, when I was young and brimming with enthusiasm for this endeavor. Those times are gone.
You just wanna go eat some babies. And forget about Castlevania.
You mean Pizzones?
What did I say?
Babies.
Yeah.
Adequate surrogate word for Pizzones as it goes. I tried to make this into something interesting, slide-wise, and I pulled it off there, and I was really excited about it, but I don't think I could repeat it.
2 instead of 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool, but I kept missing it by a little bit, and I was getting just impatient to finish the game at this point, so...
That was probably cool for him to sit in just because of the sky background.
Yeah, I have to agree. This whole little place is nice. Oh my god, fuck. Must be over already. This is the most horrible commentary in the history of video game outlets.
It's the best. What are you talking about? We talked about such important issues as pizza,
Climate change.
global warming.
Siberia. Did a book plug for some British anthropologist.
Cream soda.
You mentioned cream soda. We did not get around to talking about cream soda. What kind of cream soda is this, Jeff?
Blue Sky cream soda, and you guys should buy it.
Yeah, where'd you pick this up? Did you order this on Amazon?
Amazon.com.
What are the perks of this over, say, your just average store-bought cream soda?
It is all natural, real sugar, and it is so much better.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've had some other all-natural sodas that you like to buy, like Hanson's and stuff. That's pretty good. It's got a more diverse of flavors, but the sugar content of this is much better, I think. It's Hanson's, occasionally the sugar content will overwhelm the flavor you're aiming for. This has just the right balance between the flavor that is being advertised in the can and sugar content, to where you can go through a few without just feeling like you've had way too much sugar.
That is the advantage to Blue Sky. Both
Yeah.
are very good brands.
Does Blue Sky make anything other than cream sodas, Jeff?
They make a very nice energy drink called
Really?
Natural.
Is that weird fucking blue shit
Yeah.
that I could never quite categorize? And okay,
It's called Blue Sky Energy.
okay. That stuff's fucking weird. I'm not against it, but yeah, that stuff is bizarre. Some of the weirder stuff I put in my mouth.
They also make some coffee-based energy drinks.
What was the other coffee-based one you used to get? Amazon Energy or something?
No, it was just Blue Sky.
No, you had like a little purple one from a long time
Oh,
ago.
Sambazon. Right.
Samsung.
Yep, those are pretty damn good.
Those things are kind of
Still
cool.
are.
You had some weird one that was a fucking unholy mixture between orange soda and
There was FRS.
that stuff was too weird. Blue Sky was pretty weird, but it wasn't like weird to the point where you couldn't drink it. That stuff was just
That
not
stuff was the
right.
only energy drink I know of that had quercetin in it, which is a very interesting, that gives such a unexpected flavor that it's probably too much for some people.
It was fucking weird, whatever it was. I was not into that shit. What was the other energy drink you had, like, at the same time as Blue Sky a few months back?
There's always Steez with orange and berry flavor.
There was something else. It might have even been the Blue Sky, but it was something you had a while ago. It was like just the perfect balance of like mental and physical.
Oh,
stimuli.
yeah, the ones I've been most fond of lately are the Give energy drinks.
That was there. Dude, those were perfect, dude. They didn't like overstimulate you in body or mind, and they had like an equilibrium between both, to where I didn't feel like my mind was racing faster than my body, or that I don't know, whatever they put in that, it's about perfect for an energy drink.
3 nice flavors. Give energy.
Is this just seriously not over? Am I going to get the holy glasses still?
This is a long as fuck run. I really can't believe you played this
In one
all the way
sitting.
through.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, I had enough energy to play it through with some passion, but I clearly did not have enough energy to be enthused about talking about it for 3.5 hours. Because I am tired of this shit. I just want to go get some fucking food. I'm about ready to go back to sleep, and I just got up 11 hours ago.
Well, it's because of
This because
shit.
8 of those 11 hours have been this shit. Oh, what even happened in the other 3 hours of the day? I played some Shang-Chi. It's a pretty awesome Chinese board game. It's what this old Indian game called Chaturang, and became chess in the West, but in China it mixed with a weird, already present indigenous game and became Shang-Chi. Way better than chess. Like, you'll never want to play chess again if you play that, or shogi, which is the Japanese version.
a very long game though. You
Yeah.
kicked my ass pretty quick.
Yeah, it
20
was
minutes.
a
maybe
short.
15.
It was a short game, so I don't know what else happened.
Eat some
Wasp
food.
Wasp side quest. That's right. That took up some time.
It's
Did
probably
Wasp side
15
quest.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's weird.
What's that Ocarina of Time vid you had? That was about half an hour. So already we've got an hour there. There's only 2 more to account for.
No idea.
I neither. Looking up shit about Castlevania was some of that time. Jesus Christ. How's the real time coming?
I have still not found a torrent to pirate yet.
Are you on Cat?
It's always where I go first. Well, I guess they changed the name again recently.
To
Kickass.to.
it's the PH. Yeah, I noticed they were down for a long, long time.
Oh really? I never noticed that. If you go to cat.ph, it will still redirect you.
Yeah.
obviously.
What is .to? Do you know what that's from?
I don't think it's from anything.
It's not a country code? Usually the 2-letter ones are.
I think nowadays you can just use whatever you want. I don't think PH is a real country code.
I just assumed it was Philippines, but I had no evidence whatsoever to support that.
Could be. Oh, you're right, it was.
Does it have one on .to?
Country code of the island kingdom of Tonga. Oh, never even heard of that country or kingdom.
Yeah, it's one of the South Pacific ones. I don't remember where it's at relative to all the others.
That's awesome.
It is. I don't remember. I remember we're like weird ass vassals of New Zealand are like Tokelau and Niue, which I'm certain I'm pronouncing both of those totally wrong, but what the hell is that French colony out there called? Not New Caledonia, but there's another one. Wallis and Futuna, I want to say. I don't even remember where that is, but I don't remember Tonga's. You totally obscure the Castlevania window now. Just don't give a fuck anymore.
Oh, kind of next to like Samoa, yeah, that place. That's actually really close to Tokelau too, I believe. Should bring up the Castlevania video though, at least I have like 1% ability to give a shit.
Yeah.
And we're right at the Richter fight, and it started skipping insanely. I don't know what this shit is about.
That is
Full screen it and see if it's still doing it.
Whoa!
That's probably because we obscured the window for so long on a full screen other thing.
That was a save point in the middle of the room where there's no save point.
Okay, we are finally done with this shit. Fuck. This is actually an awesome playthrough. I'm sorry I'm ruining it for everyone who watches it.
If anybody watched this far into it,
They're
you should contact me and I'll like send you $1 or something.
okay. Yeah, you can actually jump up in that corner to avoid the Holy Cross, which like some people think it's unavoidable, but if you can gravity boots up there, you can avoid it. And you gotta just hit this dude 8 times. Come on, I need to try fighting Richter in Master of Unarmed Combat and actually beating him, because
I kind of want to just say the clock tower first, where you could try to fight Richter at like level 14 or something. He's so insane.
Can you wolf jump across the stairs?
Oh shit!
I don't think so, because there's no candle or anything there that you need one.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure you could pull it off with equipment and everything, but you need just the right shit. You probably need the Mormagil. I don't know how you get it without leveling up significantly past 14. You gotta jump up here real quick to get some up map coverage. It's one of those weird things that has just like a sliver of another square. And I look at the fact I am done, and I go back and save. And that is Master of Unarmed Combat, first castle run, all in one sitting, about a 3.5 hour playtime. You're gonna see here, as soon as I save, level 27 I think I am still. It's usually what I finish at, first castle, then 28 here and there. Haven't calculated the experience gradient well enough to come up with a good strategy for that yet. Here's my time attacks for stuff. As you can see, about last third of the game was just zipping down to Grand Falloon and coming back up and doing Olrox and getting the holy classes. It's actually always a way longer stretch than I anticipate.
That was long as fuck.
Yep. It's a good run though. It really was, doing all that in one shot without dying except on Olrox a couple times. That was
Really wouldn't have been a problem at all if we didn't sit down and do the commentary.
it wasn't that bad. It's done now. Oh, we gotta close out the emulator, it's not done yet. Oh wait, you're reloading it to prove we have 100.1, I guess, real quick, we'll leave that up.
Wait for the load.
Yep. Oh my god. I'm about to fall asleep. Alucard, 100.1%, 327.05. And that's a wrap. That is how you do Castlevania Master of Unarmed Combat in the particular way I